Today, from the Hoosier Dome, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Indianapolis Colts. Brought to you by Mercury, cars that have kept up with the times as much as you have. By Bud Light, the less filling light beer with a first name in taste. And by NCR, who bring you a better personal computer.
Well, the fact that it's a rainy, dreary day in Indianapolis is certainly of no concern to some 60,000 football fanatics who once again have sold out the Hoosier Dome as we await a kickoff between the Colts and the Steelers. Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Gerald, along with Dave Rowe, and the atmosphere leading the kickoff absolutely electric because Frank Kush, head coach of the Colts, has just now made his starting decision regarding a quarterback.
Well, we just found out it's going to be Mark Herman, and there are going to be 60,000 people in this stands that are going to go crazy because he played his college ball at Purdue, only 40 miles west of here. Quite a story.
Indeed, and he played his high school ball. He was a star here in Indianapolis. Activated only yesterday, missed the entire preseason and up until now because of a fractured thumb suffered in training camp. On the other side of the field, we're looking at a Pittsburgh Steeler ball club that's fresh from that big upset win over the San Francisco 49ers, and John Stallworth, one of the keys to an explosive attack.
Oh, boy, what more can you say about John Stallworth? In his 11th year, already 38 catches, on his way to a record season of 70. He's playing better now than he did as a rookie.
And, of course, the Steelers have the luxury of that three-game lead in the AFC Central Division. They're going to be trying to protect it, if not pad it, as they're slightly favored against the Colts. Anticipating the kickoff now, both teams on the field below us as we get set for action here in the Hoosier Dome. Anderson has the ball teed up. Gary Anderson will be kicking off for the Steelers. In the deep spots for the Colts, Phil Smith and Mark Kafensis, and that's a bit of a surprise. Kafensis has been not used on the kick return team. He's the up man, as you see the two of them in the deep spot back at the goal line for the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, with the leg that Gary Anderson has, he might not need anybody back there to return him. He can kick the ball a mile.
Indianapolis with a 2-5 record coming into this one. The Steelers are 4-3, and 60,000 coming to life now as Anderson takes it high and deep, just as you indicated, Dave, and we'll have no run back. Phil Smith, number 86, downing the ball. And the swell of anticipation begins to build once again as for the first time in the history of the Indianapolis Colts, Mark Herman will start at quarterback. Activated just yesterday, number 9 brings the offense onto the field. There you see the O-backs and the receivers for the Colts. Middleton, incidentally, starting in place of Curtis Dickey, who's been hobbling with a bad knee. He practiced the last couple of days, but he is unable to meet the opening call. And here's the offensive line. And, of course, with the loss of Chris Hinton, there's been a lot of juggling on the part of Frank Kush and the staff in the O-line. Herman with his first snap of the season, handing off to Middleton, and that Steeler rush. Oh, boy. Middleton has no place to go, and it's Mike Merriweather who is right on top of it.
Well, a lot of people are comparing Merriweather to the likes of Lawrence Taylor, so you can imagine how good a player he is.
Goodman, Dunn, Keith Gary, the defensive front three for the Steelers. The linebacking core has one change today. Jack Lambert, the All-Pro for so many years, unable to start. He's still bothered by that dislocated toe. David Little starting in spot of Lambert and the linebacking spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Second down after a loss of 3 yards in the opening play. And Herman for the first time back to throw. Middleton upended, still on his feet now, gets just across the line of scrimmage. If anything, Frank Middleton taking the short pass dumped off by Mark Herman. Sam Washington coming up from the right corner to make the tackle.
Well, you have to be impressed with the reaction that Pittsburgh had on that play. They had tremendous pressure on Herman immediately, and they covered that screen as well as you can play it. Sam Washington, as you said, came up from the cornerback and just shut it down.
Take a look at the linebacking core for the Steelers now. Lambert, as we indicated, is out. David Little in his place. Herman now facing a 3rd and 12 situation. Just underway here in the Hoosier Dome. The Indianapolis Colts trying to get some offense generated. They've had problems the past couple of weeks. Pass is completed at the 30-yard line. The receiver is Tracy Porter. Ron Johnson with a hit, and there's the look on Mark Herman's face as he appraises the situation after completing his first pass of the year.
Well, he's got to be happy about that. Actually, it's his second pass because the screen pass, but the biggest part of it is that it's a first down. It wasn't by much, but it's a first down.
Herman has seen only limited action, even though he's been in the NFL now. This is his 4th season. He has played in only 4 games, amazingly enough. He's had all kinds of injury problems. We chronicled earlier the fact that he was a high school star here in Indianapolis as we look at the D-backs, Woodruff and Washington. Washington leading interceptor in the National Football League this year for the Steelers. Young, the motion man, a Purdue teammate of Mark Herman 2 years back. Herman blitzed and down he goes. At the 20-yard line, heavy pressure from the Steelers with Merriweather once again leading the charge.
Well, we talked about Merriweather the first play, and you can sure bring it right back to him. Boy, oh boy, did Mark Herman get a welcome here by Merriweather on that play. Youch, that hurt.
Gary Dunn, number 67, also in there, considered one of the underrated men on that defensive line.
Well, this is the first sack they've had in 3 games, and it's going to be one that hurts. Herman never sees him come from the backside. Look, watch this. Boom. It's a wonder he didn't fumble that ball.
Merriweather was coming from the near side, but it was actually Gary Dunn, number 67, who made the contact from the far side and is credited with the sack. Ball at the 22-yard line, 2nd down. McMillan gets his first call. Not much to work with. Picks up maybe a couple of yards at the 25. Randy McMillan on the pitch out on the left side, and the right outside backer Brian Hinkle along with Sam Washington.
Well, Gary, since you did point out that was Gary Dunn, I love giving justice to where it's due, and boy, Gary Dunn has had a great quote by him this week. Noel said about him that he plays like he always does, well. Boy, that's quite a tribute to him. That's a hard position to play, that nose tackle.
3rd down and 15. Colts, who have scored only 7 points in their last 2 ball games. They had lost to Philadelphia last week, but Washington were blown out 35-7 2 weeks ago. Mark Herman came up with a first down in his first 3rd down situation. Let's see what transpires this time. Sidelines and broken up. Butler, the intended receiver at the 47-yard line, and Eric Williams, who is a 2nd-year free safety, is over there to bat the ball away.
I'll tell you, Herman's getting quite a welcome here by these Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if they're as impressed with his statistics as we were, but boy, oh boy, did he get hit again.
Lewis Lips, exciting rookie who has had some injury problems of his own. We'll take a look at the line rush on this last play.
You'll see it from the right part of your screen, right there. Ouch. That
Plenty
hurts.
of pressure once again for Herman. The ball was there, but it was an outstanding defensive effort that just tipped it away at the last moment. Ron Stark, leading punter in the National Football League, standing back at his own 11-yard line. Lewis Lips in the deep spot now for the Pittsburgh Steelers as the Steelers await their first opportunity to get their hands on the football this afternoon. Contact on the line. A lot of movement down there. Everybody jumping around on a 4th and 15 situation.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if they call the offense drawing them off sides or whether it's going to be Pittsburgh. Now, the Pittsburgh's their argument says it's Indianapolis is drawing them off sides, but they didn't fall for it.
Ball start, number 55, offense.
Bob McElway, the referee, giving us the indication that it was a false start, credited to the offensive unit of the Colts. Just inside the 12-minute mark. We've played less than 3 minutes here in the Hoosier Dome. No score. If you've just joined us, the Indianapolis Colts surrendering the football now, it will appear, as Ron Starks is now standing back at the 5. Gets the kick away. Not a particularly impressive kick. Lewis Lips at the 38-yard line. Lips down at the 43. Good special coverage. Eugene Daniel down quickly for the Colts. Number 38 to make the tackle. 42 yards on the punt, only 5 yards on the return. So our change of possession, and we'll be looking at the Steelers with the football for the first time in just a moment. Getting ready for the Steelers' first possession here down in the Hoosier Dome. Let's go back now on that completed pass that Herman made in a key situation, Dave, as he got 1 first down.
Well, he does pick up the first down, but the thing that's going to be the determining factor in this game is whether that offensive line of the Indianapolis Colts can keep Pittsburgh off of him, because he has not had time on most of his passes.
Frank Cush, arms crossed, immediately below us now, watching as his defensive group digs in, and the Steelers have the football. David Woodley at quarterback, even though it was Malone who engineered the big win over the 49ers last week. Pollard pressing straight ahead across the 50. Frank Pollard, who is having an outstanding season, brought down by Cliff Odom.
Well, Pollard had his first 100-yard game last week, and that sure was a big one for him, wasn't it?
It's a career high, 105 yards. Take a look now at the offensive backs and receivers for the Steelers. Ehrenberg, along with Pollard, is one of the running back spots. Interior line with Ilkin, Borres, Webster, Wingle, and August. Wingle replacing Terry Long, who was injured last week. They've had to do a lot of juggling themselves with the result of injuries. This time it's Ehrenberg. The Colgate back breaks it outside. Bumped out of bounds at about the 41-yard line. Nesby Glasgow coming up to punch Rich Ehrenberg out of bounds on the far sideline. Steelers' ground game has been impressive in recent weeks. They've got a couple of very hard runners with Ehrenberg and Pollard.
In all the years I played against Pittsburgh, I was always impressed as we look at the defensive line course of the Colts. I was always impressed with the fact that they never try to fool you. They just come at you, and boy, they really can just drive it on you.
Johnny Cook starting at a left outside linebacker spot in place of the injured Greg Braceland. One change there in the linebacking core for the Colts. Reggie Thompson, the motion man. Woodley pass intended for Stallworth. A little bit high. Eugene Daniel, the rookie right corner for the Colts, defending.
This is going to be probably the key thing on Pittsburgh on offense is the fact that Stallworth demands so much respect. You'll see how open he is here as it's just a quick out. The ball was thrown way high, but you see how far back Daniel, number 38, is playing on him. He cannot play back there consistently and cover John Stallworth.
2nd and 10. The ball at the 40-yard line in Colts territory. Steelers' first possession of the afternoon. No score here in the Hoosier Dome. Colts with a 5-man front, anticipating a blitz. Handoff goes to Pollard. Gets to the 45-yard line. Linnell Thompson, who has just signed a brand new contract, series of 4 one-year packs, making his first tackle of the afternoon.
Well, Pittsburgh's doing what they do best. Drive the ball on the ground. Quick traps inside. They utilize Webster so much. He's such a force there in the center. Oh, many times I bumped into him.
Both fans urging their defensive unit now to come up with a big play, a 3rd and 5 situation, and the Steelers are going to call timeout, which is a little bit unusual. 10-17 to go here in this first quarter, and apparently something not to the liking of David Woodley, and so he has elected to take a timeout. So we have no score in the Hoosier Dome. When we come back, the Steelers looking at a 3rd and 5 situation in Baltimore territory. Steelers having to take a timeout with a 3rd and 5 at the 35-yard line of the Colts as we check some scores. St. Louis off to an early lead over Washington and Green Bay with a touchdown in front of Seattle. First quarter action as week number 8 of the NFL season. The midway point is underway. Chuck Knoll looking in across from the far sideline. 3rd and 5 in Indianapolis territory. See what Woodley elects to come up with now as the noise level begins to build here in the Hoosier Dome. Woodley trying to get Pollard set. Pollard tripped up. There'll be no first down. Barry Krause comes up with a tackle. Let's go to New York for an update.
All right, Gary, you mentioned the score. Here's the play as the Packers have struck quickly at County Stadium against Seattle. Only 9 seconds into the game, Lynn Dickey airs it out to James Lofton, 79 yards. And the 1-6 Packers are out in front by a score of 7-0.
So a spectacular start on that ball game, and it's now 4th and 5 for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in the Hoosier Dome. And we're getting ready for a field goal attempt as Gary Anderson has come on. And this ball is going to be spotted, let's see, at about the 43, a 53-yard attempt. He's kicked a 48-yarder this year. The longest in his career is 49 yards. But Anderson has a very strong leg. Here's his boot. It is good. He drills it 53 yards. And the Steelers are on the scoreboard with the leg of Gary Anderson. So with 9:20 to play in the first quarter of the Hoosier Dome, Pittsburgh unable to get the first down, instead takes 3 from Anderson. Anderson getting set to kick off after nailing a 53-yard field goal. And David, he really put the leg to this one.
I think this one would have made it from at least 60 yards. Look at the height that ball has, and it's clearing the goalpost now, and it's in the screen.
You see how
there.
far up hit on the screen.
Oh, That thing would have made 60 yards. My poor Tom Dempsey record would have been nil on that one.
I think he could have challenged on that one.
Wow.
Here's Anderson to kick off. Steelers leading 3-0. He rides another one way down here. Kafensis in the deep spot says nope, no opportunity to run it out. Mark Kafensis downs the ball, and so the Colts will once again try to get something going as they now trail 3-0. Once again, let's go to New York as we update football action in the NFL.
All right, Gary, Seattle has come right back against the Packers. Dave Craig back to pass to Steve Largent, covers 31 yards, and quickly they're tied up at County Stadium 7-7, and they're still early in the first quarter.
And here on the Hoosier Dome, Pittsburgh, as you can see, leading Indianapolis by 3 after the 53-yard field goal by Gary Anderson. Mark Herman activated yesterday after missing all of the early part of the season with a broken thumb. The starting quarterback handing off to McMillan. McMillan, who gets a couple of yards across the 20. Gary Dunn making the tackle, leading that defensive surge for the Steelers. Randy McMillan played his collegiate football, of course, at the University of Pittsburgh, so he knows a lot about the Steeler organization. He's been quite a force here for the Indianapolis Colts in past years at Baltimore.
Well, when he and Dickey have teamed up, they have led the league in rushing, and they're right up there this year. Of course, Dickey is hurt and probably won't play this game. Major factor in this game already.
Dickey missed all of last week's game because of a knee injury. He'd worked out the last 2 days. He was scheduled to start today, but Frank Middleton, the man with the football, after starting Paul instead, and Middleton responds with a fine burst out over the 30-yard line. Frank Middleton from Florida A&M bringing some life to this crowd before Donnie Shell was able to haul him down, but it looks like he'll have the first down at the 31-yard line.
What Middleton did so well that time is he cut back against the grain, and there was a seam in this play. You'll see Middleton going to the top of your screen right there, and all of a sudden, now watch him cut back, number 43, and if Donnie Shell, number 31, doesn't come up and make that tackle, he's off to the races.
1st and 10. Indianapolis at their own 31-yard line, trailing by 3 in the first quarter in the Hoosier Dome. Herman doing a little directing in the backfield. McMillan with no place to go this time. Trying that left side. You have to wonder, David, about what all of the problems have been relating to that offensive line, because the loss of Chris Hinton was certainly significant, and Frank Cush has had to do just a tremendous amount of juggling. Reminder, of course, that our telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Indianapolis Colts and the National Football League is prohibited.
Well, if Baltimore's going to be successful, Indianapolis, I'm not going to say that again just because I played for them. But if Indianapolis is going to be successful, they have got to get the ball on the ground to open up the passes.
Well, here's the pass out here on this side. A great juggling effort, no good. Incomplete. The intended receiver was the tight end, Tim Sherman. Dwayne Woodruff providing the pressure. And in Woodruff and Washington, you got a couple of tough corners to team with the safeties of Shell and Williams for the Steelers.
Now, the problem that he has on this ball is that he juggles the ball. Now, he has to have control of it. You'll see him juggle it as we watch right there. Now, does he have control of it before he goes out of bounds? No. An excellent call.
Tim Sherman, who has caught only 2 balls this year, given a valiant effort to make it 3 for the season. And the Colts now face to the 3rd and 9. 7 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 3-0 in favor of Pittsburgh. Herman back to throw. Has protection this time. And fires for the sideline. Completes the pass, and it's dropped at the 47-yard line. It'll be ruled incomplete. Ray Butler had his hands on the football. We thought perhaps for a moment it was going to be a completion, but as he came down, he coughed it up. And we have a player shaken up.
Well, he tries to hurry the catch here, Butler does. Watch at the end of this. He knows he's going to get hit because he has to leap. He tries to bring the ball down quick, save from getting hit, and he drops the ball.
Eric Williams, who is the free safety who is defending, is the player who is down on the turf. So we have an injury situation here, and of course it looks like a change of possession coming up, as now Ron Stark has come on the field for the Colts.
That really is a tough catch for a wide receiver to make that catch, to come across the middle when you know the secondary is coming towards you and you have to leap. The first thing that Ray Butler is going to go back to Herman and say is, keep that ball low. Don't make me get off my feet, because, boy, when you jump off your feet, you're up in the air, you're out of control, and, boy, they can come and just cut you in half.
Saw Williams walking across the far side. He appears to be all right. They'll tend to him over on the bench. Ron Stark, who had a 43-yard punt in his first effort here this afternoon, will be driving the ball downfield where Lewis Lips, who is back in action for the Steelers, is awaiting it. Lips is an exciting ball player from southern Mississippi, a rookie who had been out with an injury, had an ankle sprain, has missed the last couple of ball games. A lot of pressure that time. Stark just got it off, and it is way up there. Lips at the 20 has not fair caught a ball all year, and look out across the 30 to 33-yard line, and that explosive little burst gave him a quick 13 yards. 48-yard punt, 12 yards on the return. Kafensis making the tackle of Lewis Lips.
Well, you can see the time he has to try and get this ball. That ball almost brought rain.
6:42 to play in the first quarter. It remains Pittsburgh 3, Indianapolis nothing. 9 consecutive years in the Pro Bowl, but a dislocated big toe has created all kinds of misery for this man this season, Dave.
I did that first game when he dislocated his toe, and he came out and tried to play with that. I could not believe it. But that's how intense an individual he is.
Steelers with a 3-0 lead in the first quarter. Pressure up front. Barry Krause trying to blitz for the Colts. Pass is completed just short of the 50-yard line, and on the receiving end, Rich Ehrenberg, I believe, out of the backfield was the one who pulled it in. Ehrenberg making the reception and brought down by Eugene Daniel. Just short of midfield. It'll be a first down.
Woodley got an awful lot of time that time. They tried to blitz Barry Krause through there, and he got stopped on the line. Consequently, they got no rush. Gave Ehrenberg a lot of time to get out and get downfield. He was downfield 15 yards out of the backfield.
Changes in the backfield. Walt Abercrombie and Elton Beals now in the setback positions as Woodley takes the snap. The handoff going to Abercrombie. He gets 3 or 4. Leo Wisniewski pulling him down at about the 47-yard line in Colts territory.
Gary, you know, with the sophistication of offenses now, you know, all the men in motion and everything like that, Pittsburgh looks like they're right out of the old school. They come in there, they drive the ball straight, man-on-man blocking, few traps, nothing fancy. Boy, you, as a player, you know where they're coming. They're coming right down your throat.
That seems to be a trademark, of course, of Chuck Noll teams now in his 16th year as head coach of the Steelers. Second down. Once again, Elton Beals straight ahead, picking up a couple of yards. Barry Krause plugging the gap. Right inside linebacker with the tackle. Beals maybe picking up 2 yards.
Well, an interesting thing is already starting to happen here on Indianapolis' part. They're trying to blitz Barry Krause through there to get extra added pressure, both on the run and on the pass. He's number 55. He's jumping through the line, trying to get that penetration, trying to get pressure on the quarterback or pressure on the running backs immediately.
Just inside 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Steelers lead 3-0. They have a 3rd and 4 now at the 45 in Colts territory. Once again, trying to get pressure on Woodley. He steps up and down he goes. Then no, he scrambles out of there. Fires the pass, completes the pass. Out of bounds is Weegee Thompson, but you saw the penalty markers back in there as Woodley was doing a masterful job of scrambling.
I don't know how he got out of it. I couldn't believe when he got out of it. It's going to be a holding call against Pittsburgh. But watch this from the end zone. You're going to see him almost disappear down in the pile. There's no one to throw to, and he's in the pile there, and it almost looks as if he just pops on out of there. He's got good vision.
Holding. Number 77. Offense. 3rd down.
As we hear the call, he does have good vision to pick up Thompson coming all the way across the field.
Steve August, the right tackle, guilty of the infraction, number 77. Ball moved back now into Steeler territory at the 45. So it's 3rd and 14.
Quite a story on Steve August. Coming here only last week, playing, first time starting, first week he was here.
Obtained a trade from Seattle on October 9th, and he figured in that victory over the 49ers last week. Woodley going deep. Pass incomplete. Intended receiver Lewis Lips. Tate Randle with the defensive coverage, and the Colts fans love it here in the Hoosier Dome as once again they have managed now to shut down the Steelers after the Steelers were in Indianapolis territory.
What they did so well that time was to get pressure. As we see Lips come off the line, number 83. That's the primary receiver. That's the one they're going to go to. Now, they're running man-to-man, but they've got a deep pickup. You'll see a safety come in your picture right there. He's back there merely playing center field like a center fielder would. He's just watching the eyes of the quarterback and watching the ball. Very good coverage for that play.
Matt Booza in the deep spot now, awaiting the punt from Craig Colquitt. Booza calling for the fair catch at the 16-yard line. Little murmur of disapproval here among the fans. Booza is not normally a punt returner, but he has to fair catch this one, and the Colts will take over at the 16 when we come back. 3-0 ball game. The Pittsburgh Steelers leading Indianapolis, and Dave, I just noted as the Colts come out offensively, Curtis Dickey for the first time is now on the field in a backfield starting spot.
Well, they certainly do need him. They need that explosive runner, that quick back out of the backfield that can both run the ball and catch the ball. They have got to move the ball on this Pittsburgh team. They cannot rely on their defense to continually stop them.
Dickey joining Randy McMillan in the backfield. Mark Herman, in the event you've just joined us, getting his first start at quarterback. High school star at Carmel, Indiana, suburbs of Indianapolis, and of course that tremendous collegiate career at Purdue. Dickey gets the call immediately, and the Steelers respond. There's only a loss of a yard on the play. As we go to New York now in NFL 84 and this update.
All right, Gary and David, another score at County Stadium. Lynn Dickey once again to James Lofton, who had beaten double coverage. The play covers 20 yards. Lofton, who had only one touchdown in the first 6 weeks of the season, has 2 today after a big night Monday night. It's 14-7, Packers.
3-0 ball game here. Thank you, Bill. Pittsburgh on top of Indianapolis.
Well, Bill owes to bring up that real defensive struggle over there. I can't believe that. 14-7. That sounds like a track meet.
Ball just short of the 15. Dickey lost a yard in his first carry of the afternoon. He is bothered by a bad knee. McMillan injured his back in last week's ball game. Here's Herman to throw. Pass completed. Sherwood makes the grab. Penalty marker is down. Tim Sherwood, tight end, pulled it in just short of the 20-yard line, but we have penalty markers on the turf. Miami in this confrontation in a very important
Illegal
game.
formation.
New England.
Right side.
Taking a look at other scores, Cincinnati leading Cleveland, the Battle of Ohio today, and Green Bay, as indicated, leading Seattle now by a touchdown. Philadelphia out in front of the New York Giants. And now we see it's the Giants in front of Philadelphia. Okay, now, guys, which one are we going to take here? We understand it was a Jaworski pass to Kenny Jackson, so I believe it is Philadelphia leading the Giants 7-0.
That score just changed immediately, didn't it?
I thought perhaps I was seeing something there for a moment.
There's a man that's not chuckling right now.
Penalty marker against the Colts moves the ball back just shy of the 10-yard line now. Sherwin with a quick conversation with Frank Kush. Second down and 16. Tough to generate offense with your back against the wall. Let's see what Herman comes up with. Dickey breaks one tackle to the 16-yard line. Curtis Dickey brought down by Brian Hinkle. Hinkle had an outstanding ball game against the 49ers last week for the Steelers. He came up with the interception that set up the winning field goal.
You know what's interesting about him? He was a former quarterback. Can you imagine a quarterback playing linebacker? He doesn't look like a quarterback in that picture.
Played his college ball at the University of Oregon. Leading tackler for the Steelers this year. 3rd and 10. Pressure from the Steelers. Colts pick it up. Pass is overthrown. Intended receiver Tracy Porter. That time, Herman just a little off the mark, and you wonder how much the pass rush may have affected him, although the Colts did a pretty good job of picking up the extra pressure.
Well, a pass like that is a timing pass, and that receiver has got to cut on the precise yardage that he's supposed to, and I think Tracy Porter just pulled it up a little bit short when he was covered so closely.
Chicago with a touchdown over Tampa Bay in the first quarter. And we saw the corrected score that it indeed Philadelphia on top of the Giants 7-0. Well, Ron Stark going to be standing back at his own 1-yard line. Here's Lewis Lips awaiting the Ron Stark last time drove it right up there in the lights. He is capable of putting it way, way up there. His average this year just under 46 yards, and here's another beauty. Tremendous kick. Lips backpedaling to the 26-yard line. Here he comes. At the 34, he'll go down. Ron Stark trying to drive the Colts out of a hole as he was kicking from back virtually on his own goal line. 2:41 to play in the first quarter with the Steelers on top by 3. opportunity to take a look at the extension on the leg of Ron Stark, who just cut loose with a 58-yard boot. 58 yards, a 6-yard return by Lips puts the ball at the 35-yard line. Neither quarterback's really been a ball of fire thus far. Herman 2 for 6, 15 yards. Woodley completed 1 for 3 for 16 yards. 3-0 ball game, late first quarter here in the Hoosier Dome, and the Colts fans exhorting the defense once again to try to do a number on the Steelers. Pollard trying that right side. Oh, he runs hard. Got about 3 tough yards.
Gary, you made a very interesting point there that neither quarterback yet has really lit the fire here in their offense. But the team that's going to gain the most from it are the Baltimore Colts. Excuse me, the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to get that down by this game. But anyway, the Colts are the one that's going to really gain because they're going to gain confidence in themselves. They're playing a team that's, as you said, leading their division. And the Colts will gain confidence if they can continually stymie the efforts of Pittsburgh.
The first semblance of a wave now beginning to filter through the Hoosier Dome as Pittsburgh looks at a 2nd and 8. Pollard, big hole. Penalty marker is down. Pollard across the 45-yard line. Boy, they opened up the hole that time very impressively.
Well, they opened up a hole because they gripped Barry Krause and pulled him down. That's why they opened up a hole. And Krause jumped up, started pointing the finger. Look at him there in your picture, number 55. Watch Krause to the right of your screen here. You'll see the hold right there's the pull down on the right of your screen. Number 55 is getting pulled down. And there he's going to start
holding. Number 52, offense, 2nd down.
Mike Webster, who is playing today in his 170th consecutive ball game, a Pro Bowler in the last 6 seasons, guilty of that infraction.
I used to always wonder whether his shoulders got tired carrying those arms. He has unbelievable arms. You get down over the ball and you look at his arms and they cover the numbers on his jersey. Look at the size of those things.
Webster only weighs 250 pounds. We say only 250 pounds. Virtually small by today's standards. But you look at those arms and you think he was probably carrying the bulk of it right there.
Well, interesting, when he plays in the cold in Pittsburgh, he rolls those sleeves up. And those things get bright red. He is a tremendous competitor. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him.
David Woodley at the starting helm today for the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to get his ball club set as a wave of noise now filters around the Hoosier Dome. This pass badly overthrown, and the Colts defense love it. Eugene Daniel was over there, but he virtually had to do nothing. They just stood and watched the ball sail way over John Stallworth's head.
Well, when you're on defense and you see a ball thrown like this, he loses his handle or his control on the ball, and what you do is start going quack, 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 because it looks like a duck going out there. It's almost end over end. It was a poorly thrown ball.
Woodley has suffered 2 concussions this year. The first one against Kansas City, and then the second one against the Miami Dolphins, and this is his first start since that concussion.
Well, Mr. Woodley, that was a duck.
The ball at the 27-yard line, 3rd down, 17. Has time, completes the pass. Stallworth coughs it up. Barry Krause on top of it for the Colts. The play has been whistled dead. Krause running with the football down inside the 30 and hit by a wave of Steelers pushed out of bounds.
This is going to be something where they're going to call that a dead ball. It didn't look as if it was a dead ball foul, but they may give it back to Pittsburgh, and you can hear the crowd reaction here. Let's take a look at that and watch now. If he is on the ground, it's a dead ball. But I thought he started losing the ball up high. Well, that's a very, very close call.
Very close call. A vocal crowd of nearly 60,000. Another sellout here in the Hoosier Dome voicing their disapproval. Barry Krause taking a good look. It's going to be 1st down for the Steelers. Boy, that's a big play right there. The ball now at the 49-yard line.
That's an emotional play. That can really work against you on a defense. You've just come up with a big play of the game so far, and all of a sudden it goes against you, and now you have that emotional letdown.
Stallworth's 39th reception of the year. Woodley, Pollard, penalty marker again. About a 2-yard gain as they came off the left side. Cliff Odom making the tackle, but you're watching the penalty marker drop right in the middle of the action.
That's going to be another holding play inside that line. Pittsburgh is not picking up Barry Krause very well as he jumps through there. They're having to grab him, number 55, when he jumps through the line. So consequently, they're getting holding call after holding call. They have got to adjust to that.
Holding, number 81, offense, still first down.
That's the tight end, Darrell Nelson, who was just activated this week. He's back from a knee injury. The holding call going against him, and that's going to move the ball back now to the 39-yard line. So we've been kind of going forward and back here.
Well, you know, one of the best drives that Pittsburgh had last week in that stunning victory over San Francisco was a 17-play drive that netted 11 yards. They drove from their 20 to their 31. It used 17 plays in 8 minutes. So this is typical of a drive that they had last week.
I don't know if records are kept for such things, but it would seem that that would be a most unusual circumstance to gain 11 yards and use up 8 minutes of clock. Throw on the far side, broken up. Weegee Thompson, the intended receiver, and once again, Woodley a little bit high on the mark that time. Tate Randle over there with the defensive coverage for Indianapolis.
Well, most times on a flat field like this, quarterbacks are getting a lot more used to playing on a flat surface. This has no crown, and you can see how high the ball is thrown. On a crowned field, you're throwing the ball down. So when you play on a flat field, you tend to overthrow all your out patterns. Now, most quarterbacks, of course, have made that adjustment because there's an awful lot of artificial surfaces and a lot of flat fields, but it's still a problem if you're used to playing with a crown in the center of the field.
2nd and 20. Hanging that one up for grabs. It was out of bounds across the way. Weegee Thompson again on the receiving end, and you see Woodley picking himself up after the Colts provided pretty good pressure. Counting down on the final seconds here of our first quarter of play with Pittsburgh on top. We have 25 seconds to go. You just wonder how sharp Woodley can be after being out with that type of injury for the second time this season. It looks like he is, frankly, struggling here in this first quarter.
He certainly does seem like he's struggling. Of course, now Chuck Noll on the other side will have no problem going with Mark Malone, especially after his week last week, leading in that big victory over San Francisco.
Saw the statistics, completed 2 out of 7. 3rd and 20. Pressure again. Incomplete. Great defensive effort by Preston Davis, the rookie from Baylor. And the Colts fans love it in the Hoosier Dome as Baylor goes off to the accolades on the near side. Preston Davis, free agent acquisition, doing a fine job. Let's take another look.
Well, watch Preston Davis. He's off to the right of your screens, number 27. And watch, Thompson is wide open on his play going down. And look at the reaction that Davis has coming back across there.
And once again,
play.
the ball a little bit high. Had that ball bent down just a bit, I think Thompson would have probably had no problem pulling it in for a major gain. Colquitt, the punter. Out of bounds at the 10-yard line, but a penalty marker is down on the near side.
Well, where that flag is usually someone downfield a little bit early. It's going to be, this could be a big play because Pittsburgh has the Colts backed up on their 10-yard line, and now they're going to bring it back.
They'll lose it. Nesby Glasgow was the deep man this time rather than Booza. We indicated earlier we were surprised when Booza made the fair catch on that ball at the 16-yard line. Looked like he had plenty of room to operate. On this punt, it was Nesby Glasgow back, but it looks like now the Colts are going to take the penalty. We'll get the interpretation from Bob McElwee here momentarily.
Ineligible downfield, number 26 on the kicking team. Still 4th down.
Nesby Glasgow, number 25, in his rookie year, I believe, broke the Baltimore Colts record for number of punts returned and number of yardage returned. So he's a very capable punt returner.
He's the older statesman on this ball club. He's now playing in his 6th year.
I saw him yesterday. I saw him yesterday, and I said that to him. I said, the old man of the team, 6 years. He said, yeah, I got gray hair and everything.
Colquitt standing back at the 25 where he gets it away. Once again, good pressure by the Colts, but he gets the kick off. Glasgow at the 20. He goes down right there, but that penalty meant 10 yards as far as the Colts were concerned. A 46-yard punt. Scoop Gillespie downfield, number 26 to make the tackle, and we're down to the final second here of this opening quarter as we take a look at Glasgow circling under this one right at the 20-yard line. Gillespie, the rookie from William Jewell, right there to make the tackle.
Both punters have played a big part in this game already. Ron Stark has gotten the Colts out of trouble, and now Colquitt, of course, has put the Colts back into trouble. So both of them are really doing very well.
Ball actually spotted at the 21-yard line after the 46-yard punt by Colquitt. 1 second to go in the first quarter. Herman giving the ball to Curtis Dickey out to the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. Curtis Dickey, the ball carrier, in the grasp of David Little, as we have run out of time here in our opening quarter of play at the Hoosier Dome. It's a 3-0 ball game. Pittsburgh looking for their 5th victory of the year on top. The head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, now in his 3rd year in the National Football League, and you see the results. He has really had to struggle trying to build a ball club that's still very young, a ball club that's just been riddled by injuries.
Well, you can't lose as many players as he has, and to have a better record than that, 9-22-1, is not going to get you rehired. He has 2 more years on his contract. I believe they're option years. But I don't think he can be judged by what his record has been. He's had an awful lot of injuries. He's tried to take a team that was totally in disarray and tried to bring it back together.
And he has a team that's playing perhaps as tough a schedule as anybody in the National Football League. And we'll talk more about that as the afternoon develops, because they've got no soft spots coming up in the weeks ahead. Dickey brought down from behind, losing yardage on that play. Edmund Nelson making the tackle. Sam Washington helping Dickey back to his feet. Ball will be back at the 22-yard line, so they lose about 3, and it's a 3rd down coming up for Mark Herman and company. We mentioned the schedule for the Colts. The Colts are 2-5 coming in today. Next week they're at Dallas. Then they have San Diego, the Jets, the Patriots, the world champion Raiders.
That's a tough road to hoe.
They have got their work cut out in big, big way. 3rd and 9. Pass is complete. And down at the 38-yard line is Bernard Henry, and that is the first reception that Bernard Henry has made this year.
Well, you will never see a better catch than this. I don't know how Herman threaded this ball in here first of all, and I don't know how Henry came up with it. I'm interested to see. It's going to be to the right of your screen. You're going to see that Herman doesn't really think he's open, unleashes at the last second. Now watch Henry come back in and catch his ball. He turns around, comes back in. The big thing against Henry is that he doesn't run disciplined routes. He runs routes according to where he sees pressure, and you cannot perform unless you run disciplined routes that your quarterback knows where you're going to be.
And we understand that that's one of those little things that drives Frank Kush right up the wall. He wants precision. Dickey to the 40-yard line.
Well, it obviously has to have a big effect on the coaching staff, because Henry was the leading, the leading pass receiver last year, and as you noted, that's his first catch this year.
He caught 30 balls last year. He gets his first win in the 8th game of the season. A lot of shuffling from the offensive squadron down here for the Colts, who are trying to get on track. They trail 3-0 just early in the second quarter at the Hoosier Dome. Henry back in the lineup once again now. Comes wide to the near side. Tracy Porter split wide to the far side. Herman with time fires incomplete. Tight end Dave Young right over the middle. And again, the ball a little bit high. Eric Williams, the defender. We see him, number 21. Interesting graphic right here. Not allowed to score in the first quarter for 5 consecutive games now. Steelers in a position, we were talking about schedules, where they could really breeze in the weeks ahead. Only 2 of their remaining games are against teams with winning records. So the Steelers could really get on a roll here. 4-3 coming into this one. A lot of people are saying it's conceivable they could go the rest of the way without a loss, particularly if they play the way they did last week in knocking off the 49ers. 3rd down for Herman. Under pressure, back at the 24-yard line. He is down. Mike Merriweather leading the charge as we go to New York now for another update, NFL 84.
All right, Gary, just into the second quarter in Foxborough, the Dolphins have jumped out in front of the Patriots. Here's the play that set up the touchdown. Dan Marino scrambles on 3rd and 1. He finds Dan Johnson at the goal line. Pete Johnson took it in from there, and it's 10-3, Miami.
Miami on top. We had an opportunity to see the Dolphins last week as they kept their record intact. That's an impressive ball club, Dave.
certainly is. Watch this now. You want to see what his pressure is like. That Merriweather runs like you poured hot water down his back.
From the University of Pacific, his start, the kick from his own 15. Oh, tremendous boot. High spiral, Lips back to the 17-yard line. Lewis Lips trying to accelerate, but he'll get only to the 25. Mike Humiston on the tackle, 56 yards on that boot, and Ron Stark gets quite a hand as he comes off the field once again. 12:15 to go in the first half. Steelers still lead by a field goal.
Today's game is brought to you by Today Chevrolet. See Today Chevy, drive Today Chevy, live Today Chevy. By AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound. And by ANCO, the best wiper blade you can buy. Tests prove it.
We understand that Randy McMillan has been taken back underneath the stadium to a locker room. We don't know what the injury was. We know that last week he hurt his back in the ball game at Philadelphia. We don't know if he's reactivated that or another problem. We'll be trying to find out and update that situation. The poor Colts and their injuries have really been tough. And we understand they're x-raying his left elbow. Pollard, the ball carrier for Pittsburgh. Cliff Oldham with the tackle. Woodley now 2 for 8, 36 yards in the passing department. Herman 3 for 8, 31 yards. So nearly identical numbers on the parts of the quarterbacks as we're still early in the second quarter at the Hoosier Dome.
Well, that injury to McMillan could really change the complexion of this game. You know, the Colts have not been able to pass the ball, and they were going to try to run the ball this week, control it on the ground, and all of a sudden you've got Dickey who can't start. Now you've got McMillan that's injured and in a locker room.
Woodley completing the pass. Stallworth on the far side, just short of the 40-yard line. Eugene Daniel with the coverage. McMillan coming back onto the sideline, we understand.
Doesn't look like an old man, does he? John Stallworth, 11 years.
Mentioned earlier what a great season he's having, currently third in the AFC. His catches coming into this game averaging better than 17 yards per reception, which ranks him right up there with the leaders. First down now for the Steelers, leading 3-0 here in Indianapolis. The motion man, Stallworth. Woodley stepping up, and he lets this one go deep. And a tremendous catch, pulled down by Lewis Lips. An acrobatic catch by the rookie, and Lips scores for the Steelers.
Oh, boy.
He took it away from Tate Randle in a juggling job out here at about the 25-yard line.
This just stuns the Colts. They just can't believe it. They walked off the field with their helmets in their hands. They just cannot believe that he came down with this catch. The ball was underthrown. You'll see that he has to come back for the ball, but it's played well by the defense. But Woodley just lays it up there. Now watch this catch. He actually hits the ball with his right hand and scoops it back in with his left hand, doesn't lose his balance, and runs in for a score. Unbelievable catch.
Lewis Lips with an acrobatic reception for a touchdown, emphatically spiking it in the end zone as we get set for the conversion attempt. Anderson, of course, out of placement. Colquitt holding, and the kick is good. So after a spectacular long throw from David Woodley, Lewis Lips having to come back on the ball, knocking it with one hand into the other, taking it virtually away from Tate Randle, gets the touchdown, and it's a 10-0 ball game. The Steelers on top of the Colts. We have 10 minutes and 44 seconds left to go here in our first half, and the Steelers have a bit more breathing room in the Hoosier Dome. Once again, at this tremendous reception on the part of the rookie Lewis Lips, a 62-yard touchdown play.
This is what separates the great receivers from the magnificent receivers. Total concentration. He never takes his eyes off the ball, and he taps it with one hand, catches it with the other hand, and doesn't lose his balance. That's why he has a 20-yard average per catch.
What an addition that young man is to this offense after being sidelined the last couple of weeks. Smith 5 yards deep, will not bring it out. 10-0 ball game now as the Colts will try to regroup and get something going. We mentioned earlier that they have scored only 14 points in the last 2 weeks. They've had their ups and downs through the season. There have been 3 occasions this year when they've scored more than 30 points in a game, but then 3 of the last 4 games they've only managed 1 touchdown. I understand now as they come out with the offensive scent that McMillan has gone back to the locker room. It's still a 10-0 ball game. We'll be back with more in a moment. Hoosier Dome, Pittsburgh leading Indianapolis. The respective coaches, Frank Kush below us, leading the Colts in his 3rd year, and Chuck Noll now in his 16th season with the Steelers. Most impressive record he's compiled over the years. Culminated, of course, by those 4 Super Bowl championship teams of the 70s. Mark Herman trying to get this ball club on track. Pass intended for Tracy Porter, couldn't hang on. Now that appeared to be almost the extreme of what we saw just a moment ago. You talked about concentration. He was trying to keep the feet in bounds, but he couldn't hang on to the football over there.
Absolutely. That's what he did. He lost concentration on the ball. As soon as the ball was thrown to him, he was so concerned with keeping his feet in bounds and getting them down in bounds that he took his concentration off the ball and juggled it going out of bounds.
Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Channel 11, WPXI TV, Pittsburgh.
2nd and 10 at the 20. Herman handing off this time to George Wansley, getting his first call of the afternoon, and there's just no place for George to go. Robin Cole, right inside linebacker, is in there to hammer him down. Wansley, a rookie from Mississippi State, has carried the ball only 4 times this season in 7 previous games, so he has not seen that much action. But with McMillan now back in the locker room, and they continue to worry about an injury to him, Wansley getting some playing time at the fullback spot.
They're going to take Robin Cole out on this definite passing situation. They don't want him to hurt anybody out there. Boy, he got after that fella in a hurry.
Now, the last time that the Colts had 3rd and long, the Steelers came up with a tremendous pass rush and a sack of Herman. Let's see what happens this time. He gets rid of the football just in time. Oh, it could have been and perhaps should have been picked off. Eric Williams had it right in his hands. The Steelers, who've had a tremendous run on interceptions this year, returning 4 for touchdowns, almost had another great opportunity.
Well, Chris Brown, the other corner, number 23, is going to defend this ball, too. He's going to knock it out of the hands. Right there, you'll see he tips the ball, 23. He tips the ball and keeps Eric Williams from an interception.
Bernard Henry and Tim Sherwin were the intended receivers for the Colts down there. So it's 4th down. Stark, who is averaging 51.5 yards for his 4 punts thus far in this ball game, being called on again. And he's standing back there with a lot of blue right behind him. He has not had much room to punt today.
Every punt he's made has been right back, as you said, by his goal line. But he certainly isn't hurting his chances for the Pro Bowl again this year. Here they come.
Big rush. Gets it off. This one not quite as pretty as some of the others we've seen. Lips at the 35. They'll go down to the 37-yard line. So Stark coming up with another good boot, hanging it up high, 45 yards on that one. Humiston making the tackle on the special teams for the Colts. Steelers take over at their own 37-yard line. They enjoy a 10-0 lead here.
This is an interesting thing here because this is they put a rule in that the punter cannot act his way into a falling down and that. Now you'll see him look, oh, I'm falling down. That could have been a penalty because you're not allowed to fake contact on a punt.
Chris Brown of the Steelers was the man who was in there, but he really wasn't that close to the punter. Steelers with a 10-0 lead. Now operating from their own 37, make it the 38-yard line. Handoff, Ehrenberg across the 40 to the 41. Rich Ehrenberg, who came in with a 3.5-yard rushing average, brought down by Johnny Cooks. Cooks starting in place of the injured Greg Braceland. This injury list for the Colts is just, we were looking through it last night and noting names, and I think we came up with almost half a roster of people who are playing with assorted injuries. Gain of 4 on that last play makes it 2nd and 6 from the 42. Pollard for another tough yard. Donnell Thompson just got back in action recently. He missed all of the early season, was a holdout making the tackle.
I just watched Blaze Winter, number 96. He's coming off the field right now, but boy, he was trying to get this crowd charged up. He was out there waving his arms and trying to get this crowd. The crowd is really just shocked by that 60-yard pass to Lips.
Washington over St. Louis. Denver in a blowout over Buffalo in the second quarter. Cincinnati leading Cleveland Each club seeking its second win. Green Bay on top of Seattle now by 7. Third down. Colts trying to muster some pressure. Woodley with time to throw. Passes incomplete. Intended receiver was Lips. And that time he didn't hang on. Preston Davis with the coverage.
Well, he didn't have to tap it with one hand and catch it with the other one. But he lost his concentration. I just said what a great receiver he was. And that last catch that he made certainly was that. But this one was just equally as bad. He was so wide open, so standing there so long waiting for the ball that he took his eye off it and dropped the ball.
Touchdown catch that he made earlier was his 5th of the season. Esby Glasgow back in the deep spot now, standing at his own 14-yard line, awaiting a punt from Craig Colquitt. Colquitt's long for his career, or long this season, 62 yards. He's averaging just over 40 per kick in the 7 previous games. Glasgow at about the 17-yard line. There was an anxious moment there when the ball kind of squirted up in the air, and you could hear the crowd almost suck in collectively a giant breath, but he hung on.
Well, there were 2 Pittsburgh Steelers that were a little bit anxious there, too, because if he had bobbled that one more time, it'd have been all over for Nesby.
8:03 to go in the half. The Steelers lead the Colts 10-0. Mark Herman, who set all kinds of NCAA passing records in his stint for the Boilermakers a few years back, now in his 4th season as a professional, getting his first starting call of the year for the Colts, and it's been a struggle. He's had no field position whatsoever to work with this day. 1st and 10 now as we get started midway through this second quarter. He trails by 10. Wansley turning off the right side for 2, possibly 3 yards out close to the 20-yard line, where Robin Cole meets him head on.
It's going to be tough going inside that steel curtain. I know there's not much of that steel curtain left, but that's going to be tough to pick up 3 or 4 or 5 yards inside there so they can bring up that second down. The Colts need to get that second down where it's second down and 4 or 5 where they can have the pass run option. But when you're picking up 1 or 2 yards in that first down, bringing up second down and 7, it's a definite passing situation.
Steelers second in the AFC in defense against the run. They give up only 105 yards a game. They've been tough thus far to run against. They show Wansley just how tough once again. Wansley struggles for a couple of more before John Goodman, number 95, pulls him down. So it's going to be 3rd down, and looks like they'll need about 4. Saw John Goodman looking on there. He had knee surgery during the past off season. He's come back to play well on the defensive front 3 for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, it's going to be funny to see if Pittsburgh does not blitz them this time. They've had a lot of success with Merriweather out there blitzing, and they're coming after them. It's almost a definite passing situation. 3rd down and 4 or 5. Here they come.
Wide open at the 39-yard line is Porter. Penalty marker, however, is down. And it is going to go against the Colts, Dave.
Mark Herman's getting up off the ground awfully slow.
Well, we'll take a look once again. Porter was wide open. They flooded the wide receivers out there.
There's the pressure from the backside.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 76, hand to the face.
That's an interesting call. What happens there is as you're blocking off the rushing lineman, you jam them in the face with your hands. You hit them out, and you just try to hit him in the face mask to drop him back in it, and he loses his momentum, and you cannot do that. It's the same penalty as holding, illegal use of the hands.
You see Jim Mills there, guilty of that penalty. He is 6'9", 281 pounds, and this is Tracy Porter, who is still down after being hammered when he caught the ball just short of the 40. He had the first down and lots of room to operate. We'll see what happens now when he gets hit.
Well, there's 3 or 4 guys coming here. He gets hit right there and gets bent back over. And there comes someone down on him. I believe that the ball just knocked the breath out of him, catching the ball on his chest.
Well, I'm not so sure that maybe he didn't twist a knee or an ankle, because it looked like that one side was anchored on the carpet down there, and when his body was bent back, may have stretched something. And that's been a common theme we've heard a lot about with this ball club this year. There's been a great deal of concern over this turf because the AstroTurf surface is so new. It grabs so well. They've had a lot of injuries that they attribute to the turf. Tracy Porter helped off on the near side as we check scores. St. Louis leading Washington by 3 in the second quarter.
It's going to be a hard pass right here for Herman because he's got to pick up 15 yards to get the first down. He's deep in his territory, and Pittsburgh's not dropping off far.
And surprise, trap up the middle, and the draw play out to the 27-yard line with Frank Middleton. And Middleton may have the first down.
Well, that certainly caught me by surprise, just like it did Pittsburgh. They had a quick trap up the middle. They come and pick up that 15 yards for the run. You'll see it here. It's a quick trap up the middle. And you can see how wide open he is as he breaks into the secondary. Nice little move there. Stretches to get the extra couple yards, and that's what got him the first down. Great call.
Ron Solt had a key block up there on that interior line as they opened the hole, and Middleton just popped right through there for the first down. Inside the 6-minute mark to go in the first half. 10-0 ball game. Pittsburgh leading Indianapolis. Herman with a little more breathing room. Has some time. Completes the pass. Young pulled down to the 35-yard line. And there's a combination that at Purdue was nothing but frightful to opposing teams because Herman and Young hooked up for all kinds of passing records about 5 years ago at Purdue.
Well, for every great quarterback, you have to have a great receiver, and he certainly was that in college. You can see how wide open Dave Young is here. Stretches to get the extra 2 or 3 yards. But as Herman let go of that ball, I watched him that last play walk back to huddle, and I thought I saw a limp as he walked back to that huddle.
Bernard Henry wide to the near side. Nat Boozer to the far side. Curtis Dickey carrying the football. And Dickey has room to the 49-yard line. And suddenly the Indianapolis Colts breathing some life into the offensive unit as Dwayne Woodruff made the tackle on a wide-open Curtis Dickey. He was out there where he can really become dangerous.
If he gets outside with the speed that he has, world-class speed that we've talked about, he is unstoppable. Number 33, as he skips outside here, has got figures that are unbelievable. 3-time national NCAA champion in a 60-yard dash. If he gets outside, he can go all the way.
One of the rare opportunities to see Indianapolis now working at midfield. They've been backed up inside the 20 through much of the first half. Little play action fake. Excellent protection. Great catch by Matt Booza. And Booza is hammered by Eric Williams. Let's see if he comes up quickly. He is still down. The Colts have the first down inside the 35, and Booza very slowly coming back to his feet.
Well, the hardest thing to do is to concentrate on that ball, on that crossing pattern across the middle when you know you're going to get hurt. Booza has great concentration on this pass. He knows he's going to get hit on the end, and there comes Williams. A hard hit, but he's up. Indianapolis has got their first drive of this game.
Colts fans responding to spectacular plays consecutively now as we're down to 3:25 and counting in the first half. Steelers on top, 10-0. No opportunity for Dickey to go anywhere this time. David Little, he gets the call at the left inside linebacking spot in place of the injured Jack Lambert, making the tackle that time on Curtis Dickey. Gain of about a yard. We'll call it 2nd and 9.
Well, if the Colts have one tendency, it certainly is to run over Mills and Salt. They have run to the right side probably 90% of the time, almost every play. They've run over top of number 76 Mills and number 66 Salt. So they have a lot of respect for those two players. Of course, Salt is their #1 draft choice out of Maryland, a rookie this year.
Chuck Noll watching intently from the far side. Herman over the middle. This one intercepted. Picked off by the Steelers. Eric Williams down at the 32-yard line. And Williams coming up with the interception that stops an impressive Indianapolis drive. Ray Donaldson coming back to center to make the tackle as we watch Williams go off across the way. Missed almost all of last year because of a serious ankle injury. But he stops this one cold. 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. Pittsburgh protecting a 10-point lead in the Hoosier Dome. Keith Willis, defensive lineman for the Steelers, is out with an injured toe, and we're wondering if it relates to the rash of injuries that they've experienced here on this artificial surface. We talked about it before, and you've got a visual example of what these players contend with.
This is the cleat that they have used. It's a poly cleat. Now this game, they're using this basketball-style shoe. And they feel that they've got too much traction with this poly cleat, causing a lot of ankle injuries. a lot of knee injuries. You can see how many cleats there are on that, and this surface is not weathered. It has not been out in the weather, and it's slick, and it is sticky.
We were down there earlier experimenting with those shoes on the surface. You could actually slide that basketball-type shoe a little bit, but with the cleat, I could see where it would stop and just jerk you right out of your socks if you weren't careful. Steelers with the football after the turnover. Abercrombie bringing it out close to the 35-yard line. Third-year player from Baylor. Mark Kavensis, number 29, making the tackle. And how much does it take out of a team in this situation, Dave? They had struggled to move the football, and finally they do move it, and then they turn it over.
Well, Kavensis here doesn't lose any of his momentum, as you'll see him stick right here coming into your picture, 29.
Good pop.
Good hit. Very good hit. But you're right, Gary, it does take an awful lot out of these players. This game is played with emotion. They've just driven the ball 40 or 50 yards, and they've come up with an interception. It spurs on Pittsburgh. It really takes away from Baltimore.
And we have 2 minutes to play in the first half. We hope you'll stay with us. Nothing ball game. Pittsburgh leading the Indianapolis Colts. Pittsburgh in possession at their own 35-yard line, looking at a 2nd and 7.
Can I clear up one thing, Gary? If I did make mention of Baltimore, and I know there's a lot of people in Baltimore watching this game. They've got a great affection for these Colts, and it's awful hard for me because, see, I played in Baltimore, and I'm a defensive lineman, and defensive linemen don't grab things like that real fast. They change.
Okay, can you come up with an excuse for me, please? Woodley to throw. Completes the pass. Stallworth tiptoes out of bounds across the 50. That was just perfection right there. Plenty of time to throw. Ball right out of the money. Stallworth with his toes firmly planted inbounds, and now they work with the clock.
Well, we talked about a disciplined runner. We talked about earlier that one of the receivers was not disciplined. This is disciplined. He turns out. The ball is already on its way. You can see how disciplined pass patterns work, and undisciplined ones do not work.
Of course, he's going against a rookie on the right corner, Eugene Daniel over there.
Well, when you get to 11 years, John, you're supposed to slow down. You're not supposed to run like that.
First down at the Indianapolis 47. Trying to step outside that time was Ehrenberg, but he was unable to get away from Barry Krause. See some ice being applied there to the outside thigh of Mark Herman. That's perhaps the reason we saw him limping and getting up slowly that time, Dave.
Well, I did see him get up slowly, and it looked as if he had a noticeable limp. That's probably a cramp or a Charlie horse in that thigh area. It could play a big factor with his playing ability as this game comes back after halftime, because when you're sitting in there at halftime, that thing has a tendency to cramp up in a hurry.
Trying to get away is Pollard, short of the 40-yard line. Good pressure that time by the Colts. Barry Krause again all over the field, coming up with still another tackle as we're down to 1 minute and 8 seconds and counting here toward halftime. And Pittsburgh would like nothing more than to add to that 10-point lead.
As he catches his pass and makes a couple moves, you'll see number 52, Mike Webster, come flying in here. Look at that. Oh, big Mike.
Of his all-pro ability. Just short of the 41. 3rd and 5. Pass complete. Ehrenberg out of the backfield. Looks like he'll have the first down. Krause over there along with Nesby Glasgow.
How does Colgate University come up with those runners? I remember, of course, the great days of Marv Hubbard with the Oakland Raiders, Mark Van Egan, another several thousand-yard runner. Here comes Ehrenberg in here, another runner. Colgate must have some kind of a secret in their recruiting.
And as impressive as Hubbard and Van Egan were, Ehrenberg is the man who broke their records at Colgate.
Absolutely.
Steelers get the first down. 42 seconds left here in the first half. Indianapolis disheartened just a bit after making their best drive of the afternoon, getting down to about the 30-yard line before they turned the ball over on a Mark Herman interception. Eric Williams picked it off. Woodley under pressure. Pass complete. Stallworth at the 12-yard line. Woodley that time stepped up in the pocket and let it go. Defenses with the tackle downfield, and the Colts had plenty of pressure.
Well, they certainly did. And you have to give John Stallworth the credit again. They have such a respect for his speed that they're playing so far off that he curls back in the middle, makes an easy reception. He's going to certainly get 70 receptions this year.
Steelers calling a timeout to stop the clock with 32 seconds. Leading 10-0. Take a look at some statistics here relating to receivers. Mark Duper, who Dave and I saw last week down in Miami with another terrific ball game, and then Stallworth right there with it. Ball is just short of the 10-yard line. It's going to be spotted at the 12 as they have a little conference across the way.
Well, the big conference here, of course, is what will get them into the end zone and get them a touchdown. But on the other side of the field, the Colts are there trying to stop him from getting just if they can hold to a field goal, it will be a monumental victory. But Stallworth already has 73 yards. Can you imagine that? He's had 18 games where he's caught over 100 yards passing.
And he's had, I believe, 3 already this season. So terrific year as we take a good close-up look at John Stallworth, the veteran. Super Bowl of horse racing coming up soon on NBC Sports. You won't want to forget the key day, November 10th. That's the $10 million day, the day of the Breeders' Cup. There's going to be a tremendous amount of money on the line, an unprecedented telecast, 4 hours of live coverage, a full afternoon of the races coming up November 10th, the Breeders' Cup on NBC Sports. And among those 7 events, the purses will range anywhere from $1 to $3 million per race. Here's Herman on the sideline trying to shake off whatever problem he has, and he appears to be in some discomfort. That left thigh. Right now, the defense trying to dig in. Steelers with a first down, 32 seconds to go in the half. For the end zone, John Stallworth with the intended receiver, and the rookie Daniel that time came up with a nice job of defensive work.
What a great play by Daniels. And his, as you said, a rookie coming up with a play like that. He's guarding Louis Lips coming across that field, and he played that ball as well as you can possibly play. Excuse me, that's Stallworth coming there. He's forcing me outside now. That's an easy pass for Stallworth. Watch the right hand come in there and knock the ball down. That's a great play by a young rookie. That'll give him a lot more confidence as they get it farther into this game.
Quick recovery because it looked like as he planted, the obvious advantage had gone to Stallworth. Woodley now 8 for 16, 161 yards here in the first half. Here come the Colts with pressure. Woodley to the end zone. Now there was a lot of contact down there, it appeared, but we don't see any penalty marker. Preston Davis with the coverage. The intended receiver was Ouija Thompson.
Well, Ouija Thompson was certainly trying to use his 6'7" height on that pass play. And as you noted, there was some contact, but it's pretty much incidental. You can see the ball coming straight at us here. And look at the height advantage that Thompson has here. Just overthrown. It's a game of inches, isn't it?
Going to that corner of the end zone. 23 seconds left. 3rd down and 10. Got some revised stats here on Woodley, which I'll try to correct for you. But right now, let's get back down here as we take a look at what the Steelers can come up with. 8 for 17, 1 touchdown pass.
Biggest play of the first half for Colts.
Pollard inside the 10. Donnell Thompson brings him down. Clock has been stopped at 17 seconds, so Pittsburgh taking the timeout. And I believe that'll be their last timeout in a 4th down situation. So we expect to see, and indeed we do see, Gary Anderson coming on. Anderson earlier nailed a 53-yarder. And if you weren't with us earlier, you mentioned the fact, David, that ball clearly could have gone through from 60 yards or maybe more because it had to hit 12 yards up on the screen. And that's as impressive a kick as we've seen in quite some time.
What a story about Gary Anderson's, I guess you would call it, lack of a high school career. He was supposedly came to a tryout with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they said, well, what college did you graduate? And he said, I haven't gone to college yet. And a scout from Syracuse said, hey, wait a minute, I want to sign you to a college scholarship.
Gary Anderson is a native of South Africa. He never even saw football until after he was through high school. Well, he kicked a 53-yarder in the first quarter. This one is going to be a 25-yard attempt with 17 seconds to go in the first half. Steelers on top, 10-0. Once again, he drills it through. So Anderson 2 for 2 on the day, and Pittsburgh extending its lead. And that one has to hurt the Colts. The turnaround because of the pass interception and then marching the length of the field to get 3 more points.
Well, it does hurt them, Gary, but the important thing is that they're just 2 touchdowns down. They had to score 2 touchdowns even when it was 10 points. So now they're just 2 touchdowns down. It's not like they're out of this ball game.
want to remind you to stay with us for the second half of our big NFL doubleheader on NBC Sports today. The feature game, Dan Fouts and the Chargers going against Marcus Allen and the world champion L.A. Raiders. Some areas will be seeing Kansas City's all-pro quarterback Bill Kenney back from the broken thumb, leading the Chiefs against the Jets. That'll be coming up next on NBC Sports. 14 seconds left to go. 13-0 ball game now. Pittsburgh comfortably in front of the Colts. Be interesting to see what happens now with the Colts in the second half. We've seen Herman, who finally got some offense generated on the sidelines, struggling a bit with an apparent injury to his thigh.
Just one more thought on Gary Anderson as we watch this kickoff. He's kicking off from the 35-yard line, so if it reaches the goal line, it's a 65-yard kick.
And how about another 7 yards beyond the goal line where Smith downs it? Well, we talk about a strong leg. Gary Anderson, who is only 5'11", weighs 170 pounds, showing us what a strong leg is here in the Hoosier Dome this afternoon. 14 seconds to go, and the Colts will put the ball in play at their own 20-yard line.
Seems like everybody's just kind of milling around there, and Anderson says, "What's going on out there? You mean we're going to have to kick that one over again?"
Looking for penalty markers. Perhaps they've been picked up. And indeed, we're going to go back to the 30-yard line. Anderson picked up the tee and walked back, so there apparently was an offside somewhere along the way.
Well, now we'll see if he can make a 70-yard kick.
Kefensis and Smith in the deep spots for the Colts.
This may be the Colts' first chance to return the kickoff and their only chance, because he's, as we said, he's 70 yards away from the goal line, so there's quite a lot of room there for a return.
So Anderson says, "Okay, we'll try it again." Oh, can you believe this? Same spot. Maybe only 6 yards deep in the end zone. Smith has to down another one. So you tack on the 5-yard penalty. Doesn't bother Anderson in the least.
Well, he just ups it one little notch and says, "I'll just kick it just a little bit harder."
14 seconds to play. Again, they'll bring the ball out to the 20.
Gary, when I watched him in practice, I saw him make 3 70-yard field goals in a row, and I said, "What is this guy? Who is this? Get that masked man's name."
Don't you know he'd love to kick in this environment week after week?
This is the place that if there's going to be a kick that will break Tom Dempsey's 63-yard field goal, who put me in the Hall of Fame because I blocked for him, it's someone like Gary Anderson in a facility like this that'll break it.
Herman still in at quarterback. The final seconds of the first half. He almost bobbled the snap. Middleton getting the call and getting only a couple of yards. Robin Cole with the tackle, and we have to assume they'll just let this one run down. That'll be the case. You can see the seconds tick away as we've reached the end of the first half on the Hoosier Dome. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who lead the AFC Central Division by 3 games, looking for victory number 5 on the season as they lead the Colts 13-0. Couple of field goals, long one by your Dome, and Dave, a couple of numbers stand out.
Well, the big stat is, of course, the total yards. Look at that. The Steelers 206 yards, the Colts 90 yards, and 161 of those Steeler yards are in the passing game.
Reflected in a 13-0 lead. A couple of field goals from Gary Anderson, one of them a long one, a 53-yarder along with a 25-yarder in the final seconds of the opening half. Spectacular touchdown reception on the part of Lewis Lips, who gathered one in from David Woodley, took it virtually away from Tate Randle with an acrobatic leap and catch, and that is the difference in the ball game. Indianapolis had one fine drive late in the first half, but they were unable to produce, couldn't come up with anything because a turnover, a pass interception, it was picked off by Eric Williams, gave Pittsburgh the ball. They marched down the field, got the field goal that made it 13-0.
Well, I'm scouting the sidelines right now, and I don't see Mark Herman out there warming up, and that kind of surprised me a little bit. Oh, here he comes out of the locker room now, and he's limping again.
He's limping very noticeably. As we're awaiting the kickoff, we just see him coming through the tunnel at this point. Ehrenberg is in the deep spot now, awaiting the boot. We've seen some kicks today. Here's another one, about 9 or 10 yards deep.
There must be a strong wind down there that we don't see inside this dome.
Pittsburgh Steelers 4-3 coming into this one under Chuck Noll and in command.
I think as we watch Mark Herman walk there, I don't think that he will play the second half. It doesn't look as if he's walking near at all to play. I don't know. He's shaking his head yes in that, but I'd be surprised. He looks kind of dejected.
And right over here on the other side, we're just watching. We see that Mike Pagel is now running some little wind sprints on the sideline. So we have to assume that when the Colts get the football, it'll be Pagel at quarterback. Right now, it's David Woodley and the Steelers who have the football at their own 20. Ehrenberg taking the little dump-off pass. Eludes a couple of men out to the 25-yard line.
The one thing you have to give credit to is this Colt team is a hustling team. It epitomizes their coach. He's a die-hard. You'd say he's right back to the old blood and grind and guts and that as we watch Pagel warming up. But the Colt team is a team that really reacts well to the ball. They play hard. Now, they don't maybe have the talent that some of the other teams that they've played have, but they're not quitting. They're out here running. I saw 11 plays on that particular.
You also see the ace bandage around the elbow that Pagel had badly bruised last week in Philadelphia. So he's not fully healthy as he gets ready for action. But look out now. Pollard almost out to the 40-yard line. And Frank Pollard getting up a good head of steam that time as he had all 218 pounds going straight ahead.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Does that look like an All-American hurdler? I read in his press clippings that he was an All-American hurdler. And I don't remember a hurdler at 5'10", 220.
That's when he was in high school.
Oh, okay.
What we don't know is how much he weighed at that time.
That's true. Well, he certainly is hurdling a few blockers out there.
He got the first down. See the stats on the day for Frank Pollard. Woodley to throw again. Great catch across the way. Ouija Thompson pulled that one down in Indianapolis territory. Preston Davis at 5'11". Not much of a matchup there against Thompson, who's 6'6".
Well, this is quite a matchup in the middle here, though. Wisniewski, number 69, and Mike Webster. Anytime you're a defensive lineman, you try to size up your opposition. I talked to Leo yesterday, and I said, Leo, what weakness do you see in Mike Webster? He said, the only thing I know is that he's got a long last name. He said, that's about all I can see that's weak on him, because he is what you compare the centers, the good centers in this league are compared to Mike Webster.
47-yard line in Colts territory. The Steelers with a 13-point lead. Kicking off the second half here and moving the football. Woodley with time. Oh, beautiful reception, but out of bounds. Ouija Thompson that time gathered it in, but he couldn't get the second foot down. Thompson going to work over there. Davis, Vasco, Kafensis, none of them are big. They're all 5'10" or 5'11", and Ouija Thompson is the tallest wide receiver in the AFC at 6'6".
Well, a sign of a great team is when they get players like Ouija Thompson here that can make catches like that. He's probably one of the least heralded wide receivers out of Florida State, and comes up, and he has had some excellent catches today.
Steve August we're seeing walk off across the way for the Steelers. He's the right tackle, and we were told last night if anything happens on the right side of that line, they're going to have to really do some juggling. I imagine we'll see Emil Boris, the left guard, now come over and play right tackle, and Ray Snell fill in at left guard. And the interior line is August, who was just acquired a week and a half ago, is on the sideline. Whistles, penalty markers. Woodley was backpedaling when things were called to a halt. Both of these ball clubs, they can't get over how many injuries they've
right
had.
Side offense.
Right side of the offensive line with a false start.
Well, we're seeing a lot of injuries that could be this turf. We showed the shoes, of course, in the first half, that the different type of shoe that they're playing with, but there have been an awful lot of injuries that certainly could be related to this turf. The famous turf toe, where you stub your toe on the turf, and the adhesion that this surface has, as I walked down on it, was unbelievable. You can see the types of shoes that they're all wearing there. The flat basketball shoe rather than the cleated shoe, the poly cleat shoe that most teams wear on artificial. And again, it's because this is a brand new surface. It has no weather elements at all to take the slick off.
Working on a possible knee injury for August, we are told. Uncertain whether or not he'll be back. Woodley was protected. Incompleted pass. Ehrenberg out of the backfield was the intended receiver, and Barry Krause, who's been everywhere today, was defending. Ball a little bit high once again, Dave.
Well, he's throwing an awful lot of balls high. I don't think he's made the adjustment to this flat field. That's what it seems as if to me, because he shouldn't be consistently overthrowing his wide receivers. You can see how high that ball is. It's just a poorly thrown ball, and he's too good a quarterback to have a game like that where he doesn't make those adjustments.
Steelers have been 2 for 7 in third down conversions. You see the graphic. Colts 3 for 8. Here's a 3rd and 15 right now for Pittsburgh. Lewis Lips now back into the wide receiver spot. Woodley almost into the grasp of Thompson, gets the pass away, and it's caught. Tate Randle making the tackle out there, but they're going to be well short of the first down as Pollard had little room to operate in.
And what a great hustle there by number 69, Leo Wisniewski. All the way in, rushing the quarterback, trying to get that pressure, turned around when the ball was through, and ran about 20 yards out there to help in that tackle. That young man's from Penn State. Now, I just happen to be from Penn State.
I would have never guessed.
Well, I'll tell you, he's got a great career ahead of him, and he's a super, super person to talk to.
Craig Colquitt back to punt now for Pittsburgh. Steelers started impressively moving the football, but then they have to surrender it.
Here they come.
Angling for the near corner. That looks to be an excellent kick. Oh, he drilled it out of bounds at about the 3 or 4 yard line. We'll see where they spot it. Look at Colquitt. He's doing a little directing out there. He says no, it was back at the 2. They'll spot it at about the 6. It's a 13-0 ball game. The Steelers lead the Colts.
Today's game is brought to you by Renault. European technology and design that's affordable. Renault, the one to watch. By the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And by your Firestone retailers coast to coast. Come on, America. Drive over to Firestone.
Well, after a 41-yard punt by Craig Colquitt that was out of bounds at the 6-yard line, the Colts are going to start back here deep again, and we'll have to express some surprise because we see Mark Herman is still the quarterback.
It's going to be interesting to see how much mobility he has in these first 2 or 3 plays. It's going to tell whether he'll play the rest of the game.
Inside handoff. Dickey getting a couple. Gary Dunn with the tackle. We understand that Tracy Porter strained his lower back. He's questionable in the second half as the list of injuries for the Indianapolis Colts continues. And you can just go through the lineup. Of course, Hinton is on waivers. Larry Anderson is on waivers. Herman coming, or on injured reserve, I beg your pardon. Herman coming off injured reserve. Dickey's been hurt. McMillan's been hurt. Moore, Wansley, Porter, Booza, Pagel, Braceland, Burrows, Glasgow. You just go on and on. Second down. Dickey turns the corner. Out of bounds, close to the first down, about the 14-yard line.
But when he ran out of bounds, he limped. The last 5 yards, that was not the Curtis Dickey that I've seen. He limped out of bounds, so he has some type of an injury, whether that hamstring is flared back up. But the normal Curtis Dickey right here, the normal Curtis Dickey would have turned this thing up, and he would have been off to the races. But watch the tail end here. You can see he's just running to get out of bounds, and you'll see the last 2 or 3 steps. See that? Yeah. That's not the normal Curtis Dickey.
He practiced only 2 days this week, Friday and Saturday. He missed last week's ball game. Third down. The Colts need 1. Middleton gives them the first down, it appears. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Channel 11, WPXI TV, Pittsburgh.
Frank Middleton getting the yardage for the first down. Mark Herman surveying the situation. The series of drives that the Colts have had to start has just been terrible field position, Dave.
Well, they've started 6 times on the 20-yard line or inside out of their 7 drives or 7 possessions that they've had the ball.
This one started at the 6, and it's back at the 5 where quarterback Herman goes down. The ball squirts free, but it's going to be rolled back. 3 of the Steelers chasing it. David Little fell on the ball finally deep in the end zone, but Herman is getting up very, very slowly, now on his knees.
Very, very slowly, and he does not have the mobility to run out of the pocket on that pressure. A normal quarterback, under normal conditions, health conditions, would have run out of this pocket. He sees the pressure. You see the little fake to the back now. He sees the pressure because it's coming right at him, but he just can't run out of the way. And he goes down under 3 Steelers, and he is feeling the pain as he's squatting down now in the end zone there. He is definitely hurting.
And we see the quarterback change. Mike Pagel running on the field now for the Indianapolis Colts, and Herman comes walking off slowly. The former Carmel, Indiana high school star, the Purdue University star, getting his first start after being activated yesterday, disconsolately walking to the near side. Third time that he's been sacked today, a total of 33 yards. Colts back at the 7.
And what a position for Mike Pagel to come in. He's had a very unproductive last 2 or 3 games, and here he comes in. It's going to be second down and a half a mile, about 20 yards.
And he had an elbow that was bruised badly last week against Philadelphia. And the elbow is on his throwing arm. Middleton doing a good job getting a precious few yards. A little bit of room out to the 10. Edmund Nelson with the tackle.
The best thing that he can do right now, Pagel can do right now, is run the ball, but he's going to be forced into a passing situation because it's going to be third down and probably about 15 or 16 yards as we look at Mark Herman there. And you can see how he's hurting. They're trying to wrap ice on that thigh. And that, again, is to keep down any swelling. But you can tell by the expression on his face that he is not feeling well.
Herman played only 2 games last year. He was out early in last season with a broken collarbone, missed all of the early season this year with a broken thumb. Pagel wanting to throw. He avoids the pressure. Little mobility, and now he breaks out to the 20-yard line before he's finally brought down. And Merriweather is there again. But a good effort on the part of Pagel.
It was a good effort, and he had the mobility to be able to run out of there, whereas Herman did not. You can see the pressure that Pagel has as we watch this. He has a lot of pressure. He's going to try to do some roll action to release the pressure, to get that pocket moving out there. And his receiver's not open now. He ducks under one, and he almost stumbles here, but he comes up with the ball, and he makes it out. It's going to be fourth down, but it's only fourth down and 6 or 7, and they're going to be punting deep to Pittsburgh rather than punting the ball out to the 50-yard line.
Stark has had great stats today, better than a 50-yard average in 5 previous punts, 50.2 yards. His long one, 58. Lewis Lips in the deep spot. This one not long, but it's way up there. Lips having to take the ball at the 42-yard line. And I believe that that's the first time that they've made a fair catch on a football this year. We've got a little altercation out there.
And the fans are cheering for it because they want to see some action. And I guarantee if this goes against Pittsburgh, that Chuck Noll will absolutely not like it.
40 yards on the punt as we await the interpretation.
Receiving team.
How'd they get a face mask when he fair caught the ball?
40-yard punt on the part of Stark. And I believe we are correct. That's the first time in 30 or 31 punts that the Steelers have received this year that they have had or called for a fair catch. And that's because Stark hung it up there in the lights.
Grabbing the face mask. Receiving team. First and 10.
And the interpretation is they mark the ball off against the receiving team, the Steelers. That's going to take it all the way back to the 27. So just moments ago, when the Colts were back at their own 6-yard line and they were in deep trouble, the one scramble by Pagel got them out over the 20. And even though they didn't get the first down, the Steelers have no field position. 13-0 to score here at the Hoosier Dome. We'll be back. Quarter here at the Hoosier Dome. Pittsburgh on top by 13. We see Herman on the bench, Pagel walking around down there, Dave, and a change in the ranks once again for the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, you almost get the feeling that right now the big play will be a turnover for the Colts. If Pittsburgh comes out here and fumbles the ball or throws an interception, it could turn this entire ball game around. And that's the atmosphere that I have right now. I just feel that something's going to happen. and it's not going to be good for Pittsburgh.
Steelers lead the NFL with fumbles. They've had 26. This time it's a pass, and it's well overthrown. Penalty marker is down. Oh, boy. And I believe Nesby Glasgow is going to be cited for the infraction right at midfield.
Well, that's going to hurt because it's going to be a long penalty. It's going to be a pass interference.
Tate Randle was also back there with Glasgow. Here's the call.
Defensive pass interference, number 35. First down.
It's Tate Randle.
Yep.
What he did was just spin Stallworth around just a little bit, had his hand on him, just interfered with him getting to the ball, and they caught it. That's a costly penalty.
See Tate shaking his head. He didn't agree at all. They rarely do.
You can see his hand probably on him. Right here, you'll see him right there. He's got a hand on him.
And again, the ball well overthrown. It was high at midfield. First down for the Steelers. Ehrenberg gets a quick three as he moves into Indianapolis territory. We almost did it again. Let's go now to our New York studios for another NFL 84 update.
Okay, Gary, at County Stadium in Milwaukee, David Craig of Seattle throws his second touchdown pass of the day. Just before he's hit, he unloads a beauty to Darrell Turner, the rookie from Michigan State, takes it in his stride, point after good. Seahawks 27, Packers 17.
Well, they're putting a lot of points on the board on that ball game being played at Milwaukee today. See the time here at the top of the screen in this 13-0 ball game that's been controlled thus far by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pollard trying to reverse his direction. No place to go. Barry Krause once again the man who makes the tackle.
Well, Barry Krause was their leading tackler coming into this game, and he certainly hasn't hurt his statistics. They're using him in an interesting way. They are bringing him up through the line. You'll see Krause as the ball here. Now watch Pollard change direction here. He sees a crack back there, and he says, "Up, oh, wait a minute, they're coming that way." And there's Krause, 55, just playing right with him. He's playing him man-to-man, just like a shadow.
3rd and 8. Indianapolis fans exhorting their team to once again rise to the occasion. They've been fairly effective in this situation defensively. Oh, great pressure, and they missed. Vernon Maxwell had a shot, and Woodley runs it out very close to a first down. Vernon Maxwell just went flying right by. Looked like a sack coming up, but it didn't turn out that way.
That's what happens when you don't hit the numbers. You'll see Vernon Maxwell come from the outside. He had a straight shot at Woodley all the way, and Woodley ducks underneath him. That's what Bradshaw used to do so well. You see right there, he ducks underneath him. He just doesn't get him. Now, Woodley here has the opportunity to run out of bounds and be safe, but he sees that first down marker and tries to get to it. He comes up about a foot short, and they may go for it.
It'll be 4th down and a foot or less, just short of the 40-yard line. The Steelers in Indianapolis territory and with a lead of 13 points.
You got to go with Pollard in this situation because he's the workhorse.
There he is. Bobbled the football as he went through the hole, but he easily has the first down. Gets almost 5 yards on the play, but he almost cocked it up. First, almost doesn't mean a thing because the Steelers have the first down. Odom making the tackle.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. But down that play, it was a typical Steeler play. Quick inside trap play where they pull the guard and block on the tackle. Pops it through for 5-6 yards.
Check a couple of scores around the league. Miami leading New England comfortably now by 13. That had been close early. Washington has bounced back to lead St. Louis by 4. Minnesota over Detroit by a touchdown. And as we heard earlier, Seattle with a 10-point advantage over Green Bay. Ehrenberg to the 32-yard line. Other scores, Giants and Philadelphia at 10 each, 3rd quarter. And here in the Hoosier Dome, the Steelers using the clock here in the 3rd quarter, trying to add to their 13-point advantage.
Year after year, this is what the Steelers have done so well. I remember when I used to play against them, they'd get that lead on you and they just take that ball, methodically drive it downfield. 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, and they're using up the clock, not giving the Colts a chance to get back into their offensive scheme. And that really hurts you as a defensive player. You just can't get the ball back. Now it's going to bring up a 3rd down and maybe 1. They're going to run Pollard up through there, get that first down. They're inside the 25-yard line again, and oh boy, it makes a long afternoon.
Fennell Thompson and Harry Krause coming up over there after finally making that tackle on Frank Pollard. And, of course, this is exactly what the Steelers did last week when they took the 49ers out of the ranks of the unbeaten at Candlestick Park in San Francisco.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back with that quick trap inside and go back to Pollard again. It's worked for him all day, and the Colts have just got to stop it.
3rd and 1. Pollard again, and another first down, it would appear. Blaze Winter, the rookie defensive lineman, makes the tackle, and we see another one of the Colts coming up very slowly. That'll be Brad White, and one of the Steelers is also down. That's Pollard coming back to his feet now. He may have been just grabbing a little breather down there. Attendance today, once again, over 60,000, 60,026. And the football fans of Central Indiana, despite the fact that the Colts have been struggling, they love having NFL football here in this city.
Well, they certainly do. They have really responded well to and accepted this team very well. Of course, we all know the story of the Baltimore Colts when they were Baltimore, that their fans were greatly disheartened by the loss of their team. And I'll tell you one thing, Baltimore has probably some of the greatest fans that I've ever seen. I know there's one fellow there that's watching this game. He greeted our team probably 2,000 times at the airport. His wife cooked over 1,500 cakes and sent probably 1,000 birthday cards. Loudy and Flo Loudenslager.
We'll be back with more from the Hoosier Dome in just a moment. Their season with a loss against Kansas City, but then it bounced back, wins over the Jets, the Rams, Cincinnati, and last week the 49ers, apparently on the way to a victory here in the Hoosier Dome, leading 13-0. See him working down here on Brad White's possible ankle injury. 4th-year player. 1st and 10 now. Steelers just inside the Indianapolis 25-yard line. Play action fake. Penalty markers are down. All knocked away at the 5-yard line. Nesby Glasgow with a good hit. Let's see what the penalty markers are about.
This is going to be offsides on either the offense or the defense.
Yep. Motion. That's the indication against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's offensive line motion. From where he threw that flag, it almost has to be offensive line motion. There's the pass, and almost an interception there.
Motion, number 87, offense, penalty is declined, 2nd down.
How'd you like that call?
That's why you're right here in the booth, big fella.
Well, thank you.
All right. Inside the 25, 2nd and 10. John Rogers was the tight end, one of the receivers on that particular pattern, who was just activated this week, along with Calvin Sweeney. Chuck Noll has had to do some juggling in his lineup as well. Noise level really increasing now here in the Dome. Down the middle, intercepted. Tate Randle at the goal line with the interception. And that'll stop the Pittsburgh Steelers for the moment. And there's renewed hope now for the Indianapolis Colts as Tate Randle comes up with a fine grab right at the goal line.
And boy, don't the fans love it here. They've wanted to see something that they could cheer about with these Colts, and they just got the opportunity. Played that ball just as fine as you can play it as a defensive corner. He had inside position. You'll see it on the left-hand side of your screen. He had inside position, comes up with the interception, turns the ball over, and we'll be right back.
Here on the Hoosier Dome, anxiously awaiting now an opportunity for the Colts to try to generate some offense once again as we take another look at the interception.
Watch the position that Randle has right there. Perfect inside position. There's no way that ball was going to be forced in there. It's almost as if he knew it was going to be that post pattern where they run towards the goalpost.
Tate Randle getting to play today because the fact that James Burrows has an ankle injury, a turf-related injury. Pagel fires outside, complete at the 25-yard line. Frank Middleton out of bounds. Robin Cole with a tackle.
Well, this is a great opportunity for Pagel to come in here. He's had a lot of criticism in the last several weeks, and if he can bring this team down the field and get a score, he can get all these 60,000 people and several coaches off his back.
Let's take a look at this. Miami, the only unbeaten team in the NFL. They're leading. Washington now stretching it a bit on St. Louis, and Chicago enjoying a big afternoon against the Buccaneers. 6-yard gain in the last play. Middleton to about the 27-yard line. Craig Bingham making the tackle. So it's going to be 3rd and short yardage. 2 or 3 yards will be needed. We see Tim Sherwin coming in. 3rd down conversions. The Colts 4 for 9 thus far in this contest.
Well, if the tendency prevails as it has so far, they'll run over Mills and Sox 76 and 66. They'll run that direction if they're going to run.
Pagel flips to the air. Middleton outside, eludes one man. Did he get the first down? I don't think so. They got very close to the 30. Sam Washington bumping him down with a heavy hit over there. And you know the crowd wants him to go and get that first down. It's going to be close.
Well, if it is close, in fact, as we watch this pass, it's just a simple dump out pass here. What you try to do is you try to run the secondary deep and then dump off your back. Makes a nice move. And if, in fact, it isn't the first down, I'd be very, very surprised if they don't go for it. But I believe they're going to give it to him with no measurement.
Yep, 1st and 10. Inside the 3-minute mark of the 3rd quarter, Indianapolis, if they could generate a score here, would get right back on this one after that turnover. The Steelers leading 13-0.
I'm waiting for a bomb. I think he's going to throw a bomb here soon.
Yeah. Swings this one to the outside. Alvin Moore, a little bit of running room out there before Mike Merriweather made the tackle. Let's go now to New York for an update.
Gary, here's touchdown pass number 3 on the day for Dan Marino and number 23 for the year. He hits Mark Clayton, who struggles into the end zone. Miami now with the lead at 30-17 over New England, and Marino owns the Miami single-season touchdown pass mark, breaking Bob Greasy's mark of 22.
Well, that Marino, isn't he something? 3 touchdown passes today, 23 on the season, and this is only week number 8.
Well, I hate to say that, but who was that Bob he was mentioning? Bob who?
One of our fellow announced team members, Bob Greasy. Pagel back to throw again. Completes the pass. Sherwin out of bounds. Should have the first down. Not out of bounds. They'll keep the clock running. Tim Sherwin. That's one of those instances there where he thought he was out of bounds, but his feet just stuck on the turf, and it was like he couldn't get him out of cement, couldn't move.
He just kind of sat down on that play. But isn't it interesting what Pagel, the play selection that Pagel has made so far, has been really diversified. Now watch this as he backs up. You try to slide your feet here, and his feet just stick and boom. That's what you call the backward roll. And there's a little help to get you over there.
Pagel now 4 for 4. He's been perfect in the passing department since he's come in to replace the injured Mark Herman. Play action, fake up the middle, down. Oh, there it is at the 40-yard line. Dave Young with a fine reception, and the Colts are in Steeler territory for one of the few times this afternoon. Donnie Shell made the hit, but Pagel drilled that one to Dave Young, and Indianapolis on the move.
When you said the right word, it was drilled. You watch this ball, it's a straight line shot. He's got to throw it in between 2 defenders. Throws the ball, perfect strike right there. They're on the move, and he's driven them all the way from their own 20-yard line now.
Well, you can feel the sense of anticipation beginning to build among the 60,000 here at Indianapolis in the Hoosier Dome. Down to 1 minute and 5 seconds in the 3rd quarter. The Colts desperately need to come up with a score. Moore gets 5 to the 35-yard line. Alvin Moore, who carried 23 times in 7 preceding games coming into this one, brought down by Edmund Nelson.
Well, you really get the feeling that the momentum has certainly changed. It's quickly changed. Pagel has come in for an injured Mark Herman. They have been sluggish all afternoon, and he's just come in here and driven them 50 yards, and they've got a lot of momentum. He's keeping them off guard, and this is the guy that got benched or was sitting on the bench and wasn't going to start this game.
2nd and 6, a gain of 4 on the last play. We initially credited him with 5. Moore wants to throw and does throw. Contact at the 10-yard line, but no penalty marker down. The fans don't like it. Ball was overthrown. Matt Booza, the intended receiver, and that time, for the first time today, we're seeing Frank Cush dig down there in that bag of plays, and coming up with a bit of a gadget is Alvin Moore through the pass.
Well, that's a prime play that Curtis Dickey runs so well, because Curtis Dickey, when he gets out here, is such a great threat to run, so he immediately gets the secondary to come up on him. But with his absence in the game right now, of course, it didn't have that effect. The corner played the receiver, and it didn't have the effect of coming up quickly to stop Dickey.
Dwayne Woodruff with the coverage deep, and it was Keith Gary who had a pretty good rush. He really wasn't fooled on the little pitch out there to Moore. So third down. Pagel with a bit of time. Dumps it off. Middleton struggling, trying to get to the 32-yard line, and not much going there. Again, Woodruff leading the surge of gold and white. The Steelers tightening things up, and Raul Alegre coming up here now for a field goal attempt.
I can't believe he's not going to go for a touchdown. I think I'd almost take a shot and try to go for a touchdown as we end this third quarter.
Well, we have indeed reached the end of the third quarter. The score here in the Hoosier Dome remains the Pittsburgh Steelers 13. The Indianapolis Colts nothing. We'll be right back.
To you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By Castrol, motor oil engineered for today's smaller, higher revving engines. And by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
As we start the fourth and final quarter, here it is, a little drama in the Hoosier Dome. Alegre was on the field. We thought we were going to see a 48-yard field goal attempt. He has come off. The Colts are going for the first down. They need 2 yards. In Steeler territory, they trail 13-0.
Well, 3 points really doesn't help them at all. They have got to pick up this first down.
First down, I believe, Middleton. The fans love it in the Dome. David Little made the tackle. Frank Cush pacing the sidelines below us. Middleton shrugging those pads back into position as he walks back to the huddle.
Watch the intensity and the desire he has on this play. Even as he goes down at the last part, he's still straining, trying to get that extra yardage. You can see him stretching that ball out there. That's the enthusiasm that Frank Cush wants.
First and 10, Indianapolis, just shy of the 25-yard line. Quick throw, completes to Butler. Butler at the 20-yard line, goes down. Sam Washington with a tackle, and once again, varying the tempo of the offense. Nice toss.
It certainly was a nice toss. It's a quick out, and if he gets clear here, he's down the sideline. You know, we talked a lot about Gary Anderson's leg, didn't we? But I think you've got a little bit of news, don't you?
Well, we were looking here in the Cleveland-Cincinnati game. Steve Cox kicked a 60-yard field goal today. That's the second longest in NFL history. 6-6 in that one, the last report we had. Middleton with running room. Just inside the 15 before he's bounced out of bounds. Robin Cole, right inside linebacker, and Donnie Shell providing the coverage. And we'll take another look at Middleton coming at us here.
Well, you've got to like this guy. I don't know where he's come out of, but boy, oh boy, Frank Middleton, number 43, puts his head down. He's going to be met by 4 Steelers up here, and we know the momentum that the Steelers have. And look, he puts that head down, just burrows it down. You've got to like him. 4.5-yard average already.
Well, and the thing about it is he's only carried the ball 3 times coming into this game, but with Dickey and McMillan being hurt, he has an opportunity, and he's trying to make the very best of it here this afternoon. Middleton again. About the 11-yard line this time as we see Cole and Nelson on the bottom of that pile. So we're going to be looking at a third down. 13-15 to go here in this ball game at Indianapolis.
But the thing about this drive, as we watch this Middleton run for 2 or 3 yards, I should say, is that this is the first time the Colts have been able to take the ball, and they've driven it almost 70 yards here. They start at their own 20. They're down to the 10, and they're threatening. If they get this touchdown, they're only 6 points down, but they've got to get a touchdown.
Pagel for the end zone. Bernard Henry, the intended receiver, and that's the first one that Pagel's missed since he came in. He'd been 6 for 6. Now he's 6 for 7.
Well, he better be glad he overthrew this ball, because there was a Pittsburgh Steeler standing on the 1-yard line ready to take this ball in. You'll see as Henry runs down here, he's just doing a quick out pattern. He turns. Now look at the position of the Steeler here. If that ball was anywhere low, boy, that's the best overthrown ball that the Colts have had all day.
Chris Brown from Notre Dame was the defender, the rookie defensive back. So it's third, and they need 9. Middleton, the motion back. Pagel under heavy pressure for the 4th time today. An Indianapolis quarterback has been sacked, and this time I'm sure we'll see Allegre come on for the 3. Merriweather, Nelson leading the defensive surge as the Steelers record their 4th sack. They had gone 2 ball games without a sack, 4 of them this afternoon.
Well, there was just nowhere for him to go. He tried to roll out strong side here, but all of a sudden the pressure's coming from backside. He's just got to duck down and hope that he doesn't get hurt.
Back at the 23-yard line. So Allegre, who has had only 1 attempt this year, suffered a hamstring problem in his left leg early in the season, has tried a 52-yarder that was unsuccessful in a previous game. That's been his only attempt this season. This one will be a 40-yarder, perhaps 41 yards, and it is good. Allegre happy as he comes off on the near sideline, a 40-yard field goal, and the Colts finally put 3 on the board. They're still 10 points short. We've got 12:22 left to go in this one in the Hoosier Dome. The Steelers on top 13-3. The goal of the year has given Indianapolis 3 points. They trail 13-3, and right now Biasucci has the ball teed up at the 35 to kick off for the Colts. And Ehrenberg stands back at the 3-yard line. Ehrenberg kneeling down, will not run it out. So Pittsburgh brings it out now to the 20-yard line, and we'll see Chuck Noll and his ball club, I'm sure, try to sit on that lead and put that ground game to work against the clock, David.
Well, that's what Baltimore, excuse me again, that's what the Colts have got to realize. They have got to stop the run immediately.
13-3 our score. Back for more action right after this. And after the Indianapolis field goal, you talked earlier about that interesting drive last week against San Francisco when they used so much time. Chuck Noll would like nothing better to have them do it again right now.
He'd love to have that right now. I just noticed that David Woodley, as he broke that huddle, is limping also. So there's another injury. We sure had the injuries today.
Pollard with the call. About 3 yards. Wisniewski making the tackle as we have a chance to check some other scores. Donnell Thompson also down there helping out on that stop. Miami, as we heard earlier, breezing behind Marino. Look at this, Denver by 30. Washington and St. Louis in a tight ball game as the Cardinals have come back. Minnesota protecting a 4-point lead over Detroit. Seattle and Green Bay, they're hanging up a lot of points today in the 3rd quarter. And Chicago with no trouble against Tampa Bay. At the 23, 2nd down. Big hole, and Pollard is cruising out there. Gets out over the 30. Nesby Glasgow up to make the tackle, but boy, they opened the hole that time, and he responded with a 9-yard romp that gives them 1st down.
I think he isn't limping around out there. I think he's just happy to hand the ball off, and they're not going to do anything different unless they see one of 2 things happen. Either they get stopped by the Colts, or whether the Colts will bring their defensive secondary up trying to stop the run. Woodley will attack that to Stallworth or Thompson. But right now, he's going to keep it on the ground as long as he possibly can.
1st and 10, Steelers. Ball tipped. Vernon Maxwell, I believe, was the man who got the hand on the football. It was going to be intended for Stallworth, but Maxwell got in there and got those hands up and batted it away.
Well, just as I said, they were going to keep it on the ground. He doesn't keep it on the ground. But this is a safe pass. If there's such a thing as a safe pass, it's a quick out. If it's overthrown, it's not going to be intercepted. But the interesting thing is that after he threw that ball, he has a very noticeable limp as he's walking around there.
From their own 33, Steelers in possession. They hold a 10-point lead. We're in the 4th quarter. Pollard again. And the defense responding to the occasion and stopping him for about a 3-yard gain. Barry Krause to make the tackle. Pollard now up to about 64 yards and 15 carries, so he's averaging about 4.5 a crack here this afternoon. Pollard, as we mentioned earlier, had that big ball game last week when he rushed for a career high 105 yards.
Well, Barry Krause is certainly making his presence felt today. But if the Colts can stop this play, bring up a 4th down, you're going to hear this crowd come alive. They've been waiting for something to cheer about.
Absolutely. 10:25 to go in the ball game. Steelers at their own 36. 3rd and 6. Aaron Bird short of the 40 and short of the first down. Vernon Maxwell is there. Barry Krause is there.
Well, Barry Krause has been in on almost every tackle. I can't believe
he really played a ball game.
You'll see him. He's playing a linebacker spot. All he's doing is reading that back. He gets a good shuffle here. Here comes the back into your picture. Boy, oh boy, he is having a day. He's had 9 tackles at least today, but I would count probably 11 or 12 that he's been in, counting assists in that. That's quite a day for that young man.
And remember, he had the flu this week. He missed 2 days of practice. He was back yesterday for the first time.
The thing I remember most about him was that tackle he made on the goal line against my alma mater, Penn State, in the Sugar Bowl. Wow.
Nesby Glasgow waiting to punt. Colquitt nails a beauty. Glasgow back at the 13-yard line. There's room if he can break free. Couldn't quite do it. Got across the 20. There was the slightest alley there along the sidelines, and it looked for a moment as if he might have an opportunity to slip by, but Calvin Sweeney was down quickly to make the tackle. So we've got 9:21 to go. The Colts still hanging on here. They've only scored 3, but they're in the contest. Colts near side, far side, Chuck Noll of the Steelers.
An interesting contrast in what they're trying to do. Push on the left is trying to build a winner, and on the right, Chuck Noll is trying to reestablish a winner.
Colts down by 10. Since Pagel has been in, though, they've been moving the football. Oh, pass is no good. On the outside there, the intended receiver was Ray Butler. Like Butler had turned in, and the ball was just to the outside a little bit.
Of course, one thing that they really liked about Pagel, Frank Cush liked, is that he had him at Arizona State, and he said the young man is a winner. He doesn't have all the great skills of a Marino or a Blackledge, those type of players, but he's got the heart of a lion, and I think that's what he really admires in him. You can see the pass there. That's a well-thrown ball. It's on a line, and Butler almost comes up with that catch.
Defending on the play was Dwayne Woodruff. 2nd down and 10. Ball at the 23-yard line. Getting time to throw. There's Butler wide open at the 40-yard line. And the key, I think, there, Dave, was the fact that there was no pressure. He had plenty of time as they gained 17.
That's absolutely what happened. And you made mention as the play went, he had all the time. They picked up that blitz, and he could just stand back there. You'll see the blitz coming, 56 coming into your picture. That's Cole. And Pagel's got the time to wait for his receiver to break in the open. There's the ball. Butler's on a crossing pattern. It's an easy catch. It really looks easy and simple when it's done right, doesn't it?
Pagel now 8 for 10, 68 yards since he replaced Herman. Young, the motion man. Quick throw over the middle. Young, the receiver, into Pittsburgh territory. And you can feel it starting to build here in the Hoosier Dome.
Well, one thing that Pagel is doing is he's reading the blitz of Pittsburgh fantastically. That time, you'll see that he threw the ball, or I shouldn't say we'll see, but what he actually did, well, we will see it. You'll see that he throws the ball. He feels the pressure coming from this side, and he just dumps the ball. And Sherwin almost doesn't catch that ball because he hadn't really got into his pattern. So he's using it well. He's got great vision of what's happening out there, and he's got a good sense of what he's trying to do.
At the 47-yard line in Steeler territory as Pagel rolls to throw again. Completes the pass. Booza at the 38-yard line. He'll gain about 9 on that one. Mike Pagel making things happen for the Indianapolis Colts. A couple of other notes relating to other games. Unfortunately, we understand that in that Denver-Buffalo game that Clint Sampson was removed on a stretcher, a wide receiver for Denver, after being hit by Don Wilson, has suffered some type of a neck injury. Certainly hope that it is not a very serious one. Unfortunate news from that ball game that Denver has been controlling. Here's Middleton with room. Down to the 30-yard line. Frank Middleton making the most of a great opportunity today with Dickey and McMillan having injury problems.
Gary, the entire complexion of this game, everything has changed. It's now a rejuvenated Colt team that's driving on these Steelers. The Steelers were supposed to be the team that was supposed to stop them. This game was pictured as being a possible rout. But look at how Frank Middleton is. Look at those averages. 4.6. He is having a great day.
First down at the 30. Same play, Middleton again. This time he gets another 4. Chris Brown with the tackle.
Oh, and he gives Chris Brown a headache on that play. He just took a simple pitch, and Brown came up to try and tackle it, and boy, oh boy, he just lowered his head on him and just stuck him.
Have to be aware of the clock. It's counting down at 6:50 right now as we watch Brown working in that defensive secondary, now going off across the way as the Steelers make some substitutions. 13-3, our score. Pittsburgh leading.
Well, you almost wonder if the big difference is the quarterback, because again, here they've driven the ball 60 yards on this drive.
This is Moore inside the 25 to the 24. He's going to need about 4 for the first down. Mike Merriweather on that left side along with Gary Dunn making the tackle.
I've always wondered as a defensive player why a different quarterback can come in and so motivate a team and change the entire complexion of a ball game. He's running the same plays basically that Mark Herman ran, but he's come in and he's got this team juiced up, and I mean they're ready to play some football out here, and they don't have any different players. They don't have Dickey, they don't have McMillan, they don't have all their so-called superstars, and yet he's leading this team on.
Third down. The Colts need this one. They don't get it. Inside the 10. There they have it. Penalty markers are down. Chris Brown was one of the defenders on Ray Butler. And perhaps we're being a little premature, but I don't think so.
Well, that's going to be an obvious interference penalty on the defense. What he did is, as he was reaching for the ball, the defender pulled his hands down, which is interference with the catch. You'll see it on the top of your screen to the left. As the receiver comes in here, you'll see him pull down his hands from the back. What great camera work there by our crew. Let's take another look at that. You'll see the defender come in and grab the hands of Butler. Right there. See him come in with
Left
that hand.
arm, yep, holding him down. Ray Butler knew it immediately. The ball at the 8, first and goal. You see the time left to go. The Colts' best scoring threat of the afternoon. Moore. Touchdown, Indianapolis, and we've got a brand new ball game. That's Alvin Moore coming to the near sideline to receive just congratulations after an 8-yard burst. That has now made it a 13-9 ball game, and this very important conversion attempt is coming up.
Watch how open this seam is here as he cuts back inside. I think I could have run through there. At least a great fan in Baltimore named Larry Moody could run through there, but I probably could too.
Frank Middleton was the man who made that block outside and made sure that there was plenty of running room.
Boy,
Moore.
Is this a big play right here? They have got to have that point.
Allegre nails it. So we're within 3 as far as the Colts are concerned, and 60,000 here in the Dome. Love it. 5 minutes, 40 seconds to go in this one. And the Steelers' advantage that once had been 13 points has been whittled down to 3. It's 13-10 as we take another look. A touchdown run by Moore, 8 yards, and it's a brand new ball game. Minutes left in this one at Indianapolis, and the Colts have come to life behind Pagel. They've scored 10 points, have moved the football, a couple of impressive drives. One of them had to settle for a field goal, but now they get the touchdown burst from Alvin Moore of 8 yards, and it's a 13-10 ball game. Indianapolis with Diasucci kicking off. And this one will go through the end zone, and they'll bring it out to the 20. Now, we mentioned earlier that injury to Clint Sampson. We understand that the Denver wide receiver has been helicoptered now to a Buffalo hospital.
Gary, I was on a football field when Darryl Stingley, of course, was injured like that, and I'll tell you that there is no football player that wants anything like that to happen to anybody on that football field. That's a horrible thing to have happen. We can just only hope and pray that it's not a serious injury.
At the 20, the Steelers will take over after the Colts have moved 77 yards in 8 plays.
Boy, listen to this crowd.
The noise level is deafening now in the Hoosier Dome. Pollard, nowhere to go.
Listen to him now. Oh, boy.
Johnny Cook spearheading that surge. And they love it in Indianapolis.
And those players down there are loving it, too. There's a lot of high fives out there. They're slapping hands. They're having a good time. Watch how they stuff this play. You can see Kraus 55 moving right in there. He's playing backside. And there's 4 or 5 guys on this tackle. And, boy, you should see the celebration when they come off that ball. They were all jumping.
Well, let's see how Woodley and company try to respond as they have 2nd and 10. The numbers on that last scoring drive that made it 13-10 ball game. We're now inside 5 minutes. Ehrenberg and Pollard, the setbacks. Play action, fake, and the pass. Wide open Stallworth, completed at the 47-yard line. One of the defenders went for the interception over there and missed, and Stallworth gathered it in for a big first down.
Well, who else would you go to in a pressure situation? Woodley knows who his bread and butter player is, and it's John Stallworth, and he unloads the ball here. You're right, it was a little bit of a misplay by the defensive corner. He almost had an interception there, but that's a big play for Pittsburgh. They're out of a lot of trouble now.
100 yards receiving now for Stallworth this afternoon. The ball out at the 47-yard line. First down, Steelers. They lead by 3. Pollard looking for room, won't find it. Loss of 2 or 3 yards as Barry Krause and Vernon Maxwell are in on the stop. Let's go to New York now. We have another update from NFL 84.
Thanks, Gary. This is Ahmad Rashad. And in Foxborough, Dan Marino throws his 4th touchdown pass of the day. This one to Nat Moore, who lines up in the backfield, makes it 37-24, 4th quarter.
The Dolphins doing it to the Patriots. Marino with his 4th touchdown pass.
That game was supposed to be close, too.
2nd down and 11 after the loss on the previous play. Ehrenberg gets 2-3 yards across the 45. Leo Wisniewski to make the tackle for Indianapolis. We're down to 3:50.
Probably the biggest play of the game is going to come up in this next series here. Now look at that exuberation there. You think they're not pumped up and charged, but this is going to be the big play of the game right here. It's 3rd down. It's 8 yards. You almost know that Pittsburgh's going to have to throw the ball unless they do that quick trap up the middle. And if these Colts answer this play and they stop them, this crowd is going to come to its feet.
Woodley sets his ball club. He's got 3 wide receivers in the lineup. This one is well overthrown. Intended receiver Stallworth. And the Colts have held in a critical 3rd down situation. We have 3:15 to go. And it looks like Indianapolis is going to get the football.
And right now you've got a Mike Pagel-led team that thinks that they can drive on this Pittsburgh team. They're going to get the ball, and they're going to be 70 or 80 yards away. But they think, and this crowd thinks, that they can drive this ball down the field. It's going to really be something. This last minute, 3 minutes and 15 seconds, in this 4th quarter, is going to be exciting.
Greg Colquitt, you see his numbers for his work this afternoon. Nesby Glasgow stands back at the 10-yard line in anticipation for the Colts. Beautiful kick. Glasgow lets it go over his head. It bounds, and it's going to stay inside the 5-yard line. The Steelers come up with a big play on a perfect punt by Colquitt. It bounced back, and it's down inside the 5, a 48-yard punt. Todd Seabaugh on the special teams was down there to jump on that football.
Well, we've got a penalty on this.
Holding 57 on the receiving
boy,
team.
does that hurt. Oh,
Post possession.
Post possession
Indianapolis
foul.
will keep the ball.
That's Mike Humiston.
Woo, I wouldn't want to walk back to the sideline if that had been me. If they hadn't kept that ball, I'd drive out of here in a dark van just trying to get out of the stadium.
3:06 left in this one. And that one takes a little bit of the starch out of the sails of the Colts. You can tell the way they walk back off the near side. They were hoping to have a shot at a return, but Colquitt with a 48-yard punt. It hit at about the 1 or 2 yard line. Little backspin on it, popped out to about the 4 or 5, and the Colts will put the ball in play.
I was just looking up some statistics on Allegre. He's 4 or 5 last year from 50 yards. So he's got the leg. They've got to go, of course, get out to about the 30-yard line to make a kick like that, about 32 or 3. But they've got enough time. They've got a confident team. They've got all the essentials to drive down here and do something if they don't make a foolish mistake.
And I was being generous when I said the 4 or 5. It's not even to the 3. It's closer to the 2. Pagel going for it all. At the 50-yard line, Butler, the intended receiver. That takes a certain amount of courage to stand back there deep in your end zone and let one loose.
Well, he had a great play fake on that time, and it really drew the Pittsburgh team in close. He play faked into the line, stepped back there, and he stood there for 2 or 3 seconds, and he ran Butler on about a 50-yard pass, and he threw the ball probably 55 to 60 yards in the air. He's got an arm, too. 2:59
left to go. Second down, 10. Colts trail by 3 in the event you've just joined us. Pittsburgh off to an early lead of 13-0. Indianapolis has battled back. The Colts have the football, but they're back at their own 2-yard line. 2.5-yard line. Middleton. Out of bounds around the 7 or 8. Frank Middleton giving it everything he possibly could. Robin Cole spearheading that defensive surge over there.
Well, I'll tell you, Frank Middleton has answered the play today. We're missing Dickey, of course, we're missing McMillan. But this Middleton has really played some good football. You can see this dip here, and he's coming around here. He knows he's going to get hit, but you've got to admire the courage in this guy. Look at there. There's one shot, and boom, down he goes.
Ball at the 8-yard line where it's going to be 3rd down. They'll need close to 5.
Well, that 3rd down on defense was a big play. This 3rd down on offense is just as equally as big a play.
Pagel pressured. He goes down at the 1-yard line. He stepped up just about a half yard or so. That was going to be very close to a safety. Otherwise, Keith Gary making the tackle as they help Pagel back to his feet. And now you've got a tough spot here to try to kick from.
Well, they have one of the premier punters to get it out of here. But watch the pocket. The lineman just collapsed around Pagel. He has no place to go, no place to stand up. And that's the 5th sack, and this is a team that had not sacked a quarterback in the last 2 games, so they're making up for lost time.
And the guy who was leading the sack charge was Mike Merriweather once again, 3rd-year player from Pacific. Well, Stark has punted 6 times today. His long has been 58 yards. He's averaging 48.5 yards.
Well, they may try something here a little different. They may try to take a safety in here, and they'll be down by 5 points, of course, and have to punt the ball at the 20-yard line. But that's just speculation.
Well, we'll soon find out. 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go in this ball game. Bailey is the punt snapper. And Stark gets off a poor kick for him at the 41. Lewis Lips. Inside the 30, and the Steelers looking pretty good right now. 40 yards on the boot. After averaging 48.5 today, he's a little disappointed as he comes off, and Lips had some running room as he got it back inside the 30. 2:24 to go. Steelers with a football and a 3-point lead at the Hoosier Dome. Line. Oh, he wants to get another opportunity. The last time he was buried back to after a beautiful punt by Colquitt that hemmed the Colts back into the 2-yard line. The exchange of punts in Pittsburgh now riding the crest. The field possession at the 27.
But if they can stop them here and they can force a field goal, they'll only be down by 6 points. And there's over 2 minutes and 24 seconds to win. We've got a new quarterback there, too.
Right. Malone now in a quarterback replacing Woodley. Pollard. And Pollard with a great deal of determination inside the 20. Pollard unhappy because Kofensis and a couple of other players, and penalty markers go down as they square off. Nesby Glasgow with one of the early hits, and then Kofensis was there as well, and Pollard was unhappy, and we'll have to let this one get sorted out.
Well, this is going to be an interesting penalty because it should be a penalty against Tunch Ilkin, 62, because he ran in there and hit the guy in the face, and if it is, it could be a big play for the Colts, excuse me. So, but usually in this situation, it's usually offsetting both sides, but I certainly thought it was instigated by number 62, Ilkin. And he's... Watch the tail end of this play. You'll see that what spurs this action or starts this action is that as Pollard goes down, he feels that he's being hit.
62 offense.
Right there, he felt he was hit unfairly, and Ilkin came running on in, and of course initiated the contact, and that's a big penalty. That's 15 yards. Instead of having that first down on about the 16-yard line, they're going to be pushed back 15 yards.
Tunch Ilkin, who played his ball collegiately at Indiana State, setting them back. We understand that Woodley has a bruised thigh, and that's the reason he's on the sidelines, and we have Mark Malone, now the quarterback. 2:12 to go. Once again, as we let you know exactly where we stand in a 13-10 ball game. Pittsburgh in possession, and they're in Colts territory as we have the ball being walked off. Chuck Noll talking across the way. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Channel 11, WPXI TV, Pittsburgh.
You could see Woodley limping just a bit over on the sideline as he continues to move around. The Steelers with that cushion of a 3-game lead in the AFC Central Division with victories over the Jets, the Rams, Cincinnati, last week San Francisco. But they've been in a second-half dogfight here at the Hoosier Dome this afternoon. First down and 25. Pollard getting some tough yards inside the 30. Cliff Odom finally muscling him down as we move down now to the 2-minute mark here in the Hoosier Dome. Odom walking back to talk things over with his teammates.
Well, I'll tell you,
and with our score at 13-10, we've reached the 2-minute warning. Here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. Indianapolis, Pittsburgh in possession in Colts territory at the 27-yard line. It's going to be 2nd and 20. Pollard has been the workhorse here as they try to use the clock. He's carried 19 times for 78 yards. The kickers, Allegre and Stark, on the near sideline for the Colts.
Well, in a day of field goals, if Allegre gets a chance, he can make them for 55 yards.
Malone rolling to the right. Pressure. Penalty marker down, and so is Mark Malone. Donnell Thompson and Johnny Cooks providing the surge there for the Indianapolis Colts.
And Mike Webster just can't believe it if it's against him. He was just dumbfounded when he turned around there.
Now, with that penetration, you have to assume they decline the penalty here, David?
Well, they certainly should, but this is a funny play. This is a naked reverse, and you can see there's the push that they called. And Mike's probably saying, I barely touched him. I'm not that fast. But there's the yellow flag coming in. If they take the penalty, it's another 15-yard penalty. It's going to move them a long way back. It's going to be about 2nd down and, well, maybe about a 1/4 mile instead of a half.
Well, you see Barry Krause considering his options. We'll have an opportunity to check some more scores here, I believe. Miami.
Illegal use of the hand. Number 52, offense. Still 2nd down.
Still 2nd down. Seattle on top of Green Bay. Chicago comfortable all day long. Tampa Bay has now stretched it out to 9 points, but that's a long way from the 37.
Well, that's the temperature in Chicago, 37.
Peyton with a couple of touchdowns early in that ball game today, we heard earlier.
What else is new in Chicago?
What a season. What a season he has had.
He's had a season already, and we're only 8 games into it.
Well, it's now 2nd down and 30. 1:54 to play. Noise level building again in the Hoosier Dome as you take a good look at Mark Malone.
They've got to get pressure on him. Oh, they jumped offside.
Contact was made over there, too. Well, Blaze Winter, number 96, came across and got a hand on one of the interior linemen.
Encroachment, 96, defense.
So it'll be 2nd and 25 instead of 2nd and 30.
Well, that's enthusiasm. You'll see him jump off sides at the top of your screen. He just says, well, Coach, I was really trying to get going there. I'm just ready to go. Just started 1 second too soon.
Yep.
We could have
Syracuse.
We could have our 60-yard field goal here if he gets a chance from in here.
Anderson already converted from 53 yards earlier this afternoon. Colts jamming up defensively on the line once again. Ehrenberg gets about 5. Leo Wisniewski with the tackle. And I see the timeout now being called by Indianapolis. Stops the clock at 1:46. Ehrenberg comes up off the turf. And a 3rd down situation coming up.
Well, a lot of people would question why do you use a timeout now? You save valuable seconds. 30 seconds would come off the clock, whereas if you save them for when you have the ball, you might get the ball back with only 30 seconds. So it's a big gamble to take this. They're just saying that they're going to stop them on 3rd down, and they're going to get the ball back, and they don't care about timeouts.
I want to remind you to stay with us. The second half of our NFL doubleheader on NBC. The feature game, the Chargers and Dan Fouts going against Marcus Allen and the world champion Raiders. Some areas will be seeing Kansas City's Bill Kenny in action, back from the broken thumb. He leads the Chiefs against the New York Jets. That's all coming up next on NBC Sports. Well, the brain trust for the Indianapolis Colts, hard at work. They've got to get the football back. They trail by 3. The Steelers in a 3rd down situation, and of course they've got the field goal coming up, or an opportunity if they don't convert. And look at here, there's Lambert on the sideline.
You know he's got to be just chomping at the bit to get out there. That is one of the most intense people I've ever been on a field with.
He exudes intensity just standing in almost a nonchalant pose across the way. He's just so intimidating. The great years as an all-pro, and this year with a dislocated big toe.
I want to let you know I like him a lot better now that I'm up in the booth and not down on the field against the Raiders. He used to scare me, and I was on defense and didn't have to be out there. But he yells and screams and good night, chews his nails, and does about everything you ever saw out there during that game.
Here we are, 3rd and 20 at the Colts 27-yard line.
They've got to get pressure. They've got to stop him.
And he's brought down to the 25-yard line by Vernon Maxwell. Also there is Donnell Thompson, and another timeout has been called. That's 1:39 now. And we anticipate that we'll see the field goal unit on. In fact, here comes Gary Anderson. He's hit 2 of them today, one from 25, one from 53 yards. And this one is going to be spotted at about the 32. It'll make it a 42, 43-yard attempt.
It's just a chip shot for him. This is like a 9-iron. You know, it's been interesting. It's the first time I've been in this dome today, and I'm really amazed at the ceiling here. It almost feels as if you're outside. The translucent part of that dome looks so white. It almost looks as if you're outside.
It's a beautiful facility. As we take a look now, the distance, this will be the shot where Anderson's going to be trying to nail one between those 2 yellow posts. If he's able to, it's going to make it a 16-10 ball game. And, of course, Indianapolis will have the football and one more opportunity.
And if he doesn't, the Colts are going to get the ball at the 25-yard line, and they've only got to go 40 yards to get within the field goal range of the leg break.
Anderson for the year is now 12 for 18 in field goals attempted and completed. This will be a 42-yard attempt. Here's the snap. He's got it, and he had it with about 25 yards to spare. I can't get over the strength of that leg. An impressive boot once again as we watch Gary Anderson go off the field across the way. And the Steelers will now be kicking off. 16-10 is our score, and we'll watch the reaction here, David.
Oh, I know. I watched his facial reaction as he kicked that ball. It was just as if it was just a chip shot. There's no pressure on. Watch. Well, let's just go over to the sideline. That's good, and let's go.
The native of South Africa who never even saw football until after he was out of high school. His father is a Baptist minister. Got to be proud of what this young man has accomplished after a collegiate career at Syracuse, now in his 3rd year as a professional.
Watch how high this ball is when it crosses. Now it's going over the goalpost right now. It's over the goalpost because there it hits into the screen.
Oh,
can you imagine?
Just amazing. So 3 field goals today by Gary Anderson, but more importantly now, the Colts are going to get the ball back, and for their fans, they've got one more opportunity. 1:35 to play on this one. It's a 16-10 ball game. Field goals don't do any good now. They have got to get the touchdown. The last time they had the football, they started at their 2, and they didn't get very far. This one driven back out. Smith downs it almost 10 yards deep, and the Colts will start at the 20 with 1:35 to play.
The most important thing that's going to happen on this drive, of course, is the play selection of that man right there, Mike Pagel. And, of course, he's getting instruction from his offensive coach and Frank Cush in the background. But his play selection is so crucial here. He doesn't have a lot of timeouts. He has to get the ball downfield. He's got 1:35. And there's a young man. I say young, 11 years. He's had a hairline like I do. It's kind of receding back there, but
another 100-yard day.
What a great guy and a great receiver.
The 19th of his career, I believe.
He's had 4 already this year.
Pagel 10 for 13 and 90 yards as he goes to work on the clock. Middleton across the 30, trying to get out of bounds. I don't know if he made it. He did. Donnie Shell knocked him down, but the clock has been stopped at 1:26. And a fine gain as they dump the ball off to Middleton. So Pagel now 11 for 14 since he's come in for the injured Herman.
Oh, no, I just got tapped on the shoulder and was told that San Diego's leading my Raiders, America's favorite team, 7-0.
That's the feature attraction in the second half of our doubleheader today. We've still got some action to go here in the last 1:26 at the Hoosier Dome. Pagel down the middle. Completes the pass to Bernard Henry at the 45. Donnie Shell with a tackle, and the Colts on the move. The hurry-up offense as they move the chains into Pittsburgh territory. 1:08 and counting. Pagel scrambling. Dumps the ball out. Almost intercepted, but we've got a penalty marker down. Sam Washington had his hands on the football at the 38, but at about the 30-yard line, a penalty marker is down. Offensive or defensive interference, and the Colts are gathering momentum.
First down on a 35-yard line. They've got 35 yards.
Number 41, defense, 5 yards and an automatic first down.
They've got a first down on the 40-yard line, excuse me. And they've only got 40 yards, and they have to get a touchdown, of course, at 16-10. They've got over a minute to go still.
Sam Washington, who has 6 interceptions this year, guilty of the interference call. So at the 40 now, 1 minute and 2 to go.
I just looked across the field, and I could just see Chuck Noll's teeth just grinding together.
Here come the Steelers. Heavy pressure. Pagel down at midfield. The 5th time today that an Indianapolis quarterback has been sacked. Edmund Nelson, Keith Gary leading that surge.
Well, when they know it's going to be a pass, they just put everything, all the weight on their hands, and they're flying, not worrying about anything, I should say, and they are really taking off right now. They're coming again.
Penalty markers and whistles from the 50-yard line as that play unfolded. 53 seconds on the clock. Such a frustrating position for a young team. They have to execute that 2-minute drill, and when you have youth, you usually have mistakes.
Ball start, left side of the offensive line.
But when you get in a 2-minute situation, we call 2 minutes, the last 2 minutes of the ball game, hurry-up offense. You don't want to make mistakes like they've just done. You want to get rid of that ball without getting sacked. They lost 10 yards on that. Now they have an illegal procedure, a motion on the left side of their line. It just compounds the problem. Now they've got to pick up 25 yards. It's second down. They've got to get 25 to get a first down, so he's got to throw the ball deep now.
And the sack total correctly is 6 in this game. We said 5 a few moments ago. Here come the Steelers again. Pagel fires. Not a chance on that one. intended receiver was Bernard Henry, but that ball was well behind him, and there was really no opportunity for Henry to come close to a reception.
Well, in order for those wide receivers to get downfield, he has got to have time. He's got to throw a 25-yard pass. It's going to take about 3 seconds for them, 3 to 4 seconds for them to get 25 yards downfield, and his offensive line is not allowing him that time. They have got to pick up at least 15 yards on this play or better to even have a chance on 4th down. So his line has got to give him time. They cannot collapse there.
You see the clock. 3rd and 24. Pagel scrambling. Still free. Now he fires. And it's caught. Oh! It's caught by Ray Butler. Butler will score. Total, complete pandemonium in the Hoosier Dome. 54 yards, and Butler takes it in for the touchdown, and we have a tie game, and the conversion coming up.
Oh, you will never believe this play unless we see it again. This is unbelievable. Pittsburgh almost came up with an interception. The ball was tipped up in the air. Butler catches it in stride and runs it in. Now watch the play here. You'll see Sam Washington, 41, as Pagel's under a lot of pressure, throws it downfield. Now watch the tip right here. There's the almost interception. The ball's tipped up. There's Butler, just happens to be standing in the right place. Takes it all the way down for a score.
What a move right there.
Oh,
a
boy.
Great fake got him to the end zone from the 5-yard line. But right now, everybody watching Raul Alegre.
And this Pittsburgh team is stunned. They cannot believe it.
He's got it. And the Colts, who were down by 13, now lead the Pittsburgh Steelers with 34 seconds to go. It's still not over in the Hoosier Dome.
Gary, I said it in the 3rd quarter, and I said it in the 4th quarter. The Colts had not quit. They're a team that's a young team. They're years away from playing into a championship form, but they have not quit. And a play like that will break your back. But there's a man, if anybody can do it, Chuck Noll knows what it takes to be in this situation. We've talked about the leg of Gary Anderson. It could come down to a play like that. Let's watch that play again as Pagel scrambles almost over the line. Now here's the tip. Right there, Sam Washington, 41, tips the ball up.
Nice.
Butler just happens to be running on by. Now watch the move as you indicated at the last part here. That great move right there got him into the end zone. Oh, boy.
Electrifying results. This crowd of 60,000 has gone bonkers in Indianapolis, but we've still got 34 seconds to go, and you can't count the Steelers out.
Absolutely true, and that's the thing that those coaches on the sideline are saying. Hey, look, they've got 34 seconds. They can get in field goal range. We've got to stop them.
The Colts went 80 yards, 5 plays. It took only a minute and a second to do it. The 54-yard culmination, Pagel to Butler. It was tipped twice by Washington, and Butler ran it in. Everyone on their feet here in the Hoosier Dome.
Well, I'd much rather be lucky than be good.
Here's the kick by Biasucci. We'll see if there's a run back. Ehrenberg says no. They'll bring it out to the 20. And the Steelers will go to work behind Mark Malone with 34 seconds left in what's turned out to be a real nail-biter here in Indianapolis. Steelers 4-3 coming in. The Colts 2-5 coming into this one. And the Colts have got such a schedule. We indicated earlier, Dallas, San Diego, Jets, Patriots, Raiders, all in the next 5 weeks. What a lift if they can hang on to this 1-point lead for this young team. The Steelers looking ahead to Atlanta.
Well, if they can put in a play like they just ran, they might beat all those teams.
Well, here they are, 3 wide receivers to the near side. They've got Thompson, they've got Lips, they've got Stallworth out here. And you know that Mark Malone is going to be looking deep.
And listen to this crowd.
Here's the throw, pass completed to the tight end. And timeout is immediately called. Greg Garrity, the tight end, made the catch as the wide receivers went deep. Randle with a tackle, 26 seconds now. Gain of 12 takes it out to the 32. Well, Anderson has hit from 53 already today. If you were with us when he kicked it, we've commented several times, it looked like it would have been good from 60 or more. So they've got to get upfield a position yet before they get a shot at the field goal.
Well, that's an interesting series of what Malone is trying to do there. He's trying to run those 3 wide receivers deep and run somebody underneath to pick up 15 or 20 yards. But you said it. If they get to the 50-yard line, I guarantee you Gary Anderson will be able to take a chance from 50 yards. Well, that would be about a 63 to 65-yard field goal. If they can get inside the 50-yard line, 1 or 2 yards, you know they're going to be excited.
Butler reliving the moment. You see them batting the ball up in there on the bench. He's going to hang on to that one.
That one's going in the trophy case because you don't get many like that. Oh, boy, what a play.
But still, 26 seconds to go. Here come the Steelers. First down at their own 32. Once again, 3 receivers to the near side. Malone cranks it up. He's in trouble, and he'll go down at the 26-yard line. Leo Wisniewski, Blaze Winter, Vernon Maxwell, all there. And the Indianapolis fans love every moment. We're down to 19 seconds.
Pittsburgh's not going to use a timeout. They're trying to get their 3 wide receivers set to save that timeout.
They wind the clock. 14 seconds. Here's the bomb. Up for grabs. No penalty markers. And an incomplete pass. We're down to 3 seconds. Lasco, Davis, Tefensis, all defending. Look at this little convention at the 32-yard line.
Well, that almost could have happened. What happened on that other play? But now they don't have the chance for the field goal because 3 seconds, they're not going to get it in field goal range. He's got to throw another one up for grabs. I thought that he should have come across and maybe tried a 15, 18, maybe 20-yard pass to get down a little ways and use that timeout. But how about that man right there, Butler? Is he a hero today? He's still got that ball in his hand. Look at him.
Smile, ear to ear.
Look at him.
With Bernard Henry acknowledging the crowd over here. They love it in Indianapolis.
He's waving up there to his wife and his mom.
Mike Merriweather alongside. There's Pagel. Frank Kush. What do you think is rumbling through his mind right now? Oh, did they battle back? So game.
Yes, you know what brings up an interesting play right here? With the Oakland Raiders, I'll never forget the play that went to Frenchie Fuqua, tipped off his shoulder. Franco Harris caught it in midair. Now, they called it the Immaculate Reception. When I was with Oakland, we called it the Immaculate Deception. But this is a game where anything can happen. The play to Butler can certainly happen for Pittsburgh. And I will never say never until there's 3 seconds off this clock. But it has to be just a stunning loss at this time to Pittsburgh. They have just got to be just stunned by that play.
Frank Kush continuing to pace. 3 seconds to go. After that sack, which was the first by the Colts today, the Steelers back at their own 26-yard line, and here's your ball game. This one's batted around. It's caught. The Steelers, Ouija Thompson has it, but he's down at the 15, and the ball game is over. We almost had a repeat. Ouija Thompson came up with the football, but he was tackled at the 15-yard line, and the Indianapolis Colts have upended the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-16.
Well, if you ever wanted to see another play, this is probably the most exciting seconds I've ever seen.
A wild one in the Hoosier Dome. 17-16 the final. In the Hoosier Dome. We have just a few seconds to wrap it up, but the Pagel bomb that was picked off by Butler, it ends up in an Indianapolis victory, 17-16, the final in the Hoosier Dome. The Colts